Happy Thursday. It's time for Kersey and coffee. No, coffee and Kersey words. I don't know what we're talking about. It's fine. We're professionals here. Speaking of which, I have something to share with you in just a moment that I'm very excited about. But today we have a whole bunch of topics that we need to talk about. So let me just tell you, we're doing quick bits first, which are, if you're new here, quick bits are a quick little update on a bunch of cases that either I'm fascinated by, have a really cheeky headline, or are follow-ups to cases that I'm covering before we get to a longer episode on it, to just let you know what's happening now. Then we are doing part 2 of Nate the lawyer's defamation lawsuit. We only got through part 1, well, because Amber Heard declared herself homeless. We're doing a legal deep dive on that next week. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. We're going to be doing a deep dive into that situation. We've got some updates on Depp v. Heard today, and we're going to have to put up another poll about Blocked by Bouzy, because when we get to that topic, we will, because so many of you went to the community tab and were like, I barely go on Twitter, and I went to look because of your coverage, and I'm blocked. It's fascinating to find out how many are blocked. It's wild. So with that, we are going to get into all of those updates. Let me just give you a sneaky peek for the replay crew. Sneaky peek. We have a really interesting update. I did a thread on this on Twitter late last night. A really interesting update in the Girardi contempt proceedings from Judge Durkin in Illinois, who's like, I am not playing with you. What we're not doing. So a really interesting Girardi update. Depp v. Heard, there's some stuff going on with the appellate briefs. There is an update in the Todd Chrisley conviction. There are updates in the Rust case just briefly. No one's been charged with crimes yet, unless that literally happened this morning while I've been working. So, which is always possible. And then we've got the second part of that lawsuit. But first, I've got to share one of you amazing law nerds, and I think I know who it is because we were chatting yesterday in the members only live stream, sent me something that I said I needed, and just, you guys, I don't want to get this onto the mic too loud, but apparently I get to be YouTube famous now because I have a fan. Thank you for sending the fans. Look at this. Whap. We are professionals here. Look, I can live my Peterman fantasy with this fan. We can flip it. We can flop it. I will drop it if I try to do anything else. Look at this. We've also got the purple. We got the purple. We got that purple. We got that purple drip. Like, just fans. I know they're loud. I'm sorry. I'm going to try not to kill your ears with these. I'm very excited. So we might have to do them on the backside of the mic. Because Peter has a much more open space than I do. But look at this. I'm living YouTube famous now. The album coming in 2023. Emily sings random bits of songs during live streams. That's the title. So there's a meme going around on TikTok, because I spend too much time on TikTok, and it's got all the little bits of songs woven together, and it's literally my brain. I should probably just make a TikTok about it, but it's literally my brain while I'm streaming, all the little bits of songs weaving together while I am trying to stream. So the fans are so fun. So thank you. They brought so much delight when I went to pick stuff up at the mailbox. I was just like, gagged. I love them. Thank you. So with that, law nerds, let me know where you're coming in from, what you're drinking. It's so good to see all of you, especially all of the international crew. For those of you that aren't fans of Peterman, he is one of my just favorite humans. He's just a phenomenal content creator and does drama commentary, but also does Peterisms, also does Peter Does Stuff. He's got like 7,000 channels. I think that's an accurate number, not an exaggeration at all. And in his commentary videos, his intro has a very long segment of all of the little things that we just kind of paid homage to. So the fan and the YouTube famous now, it's all part of his intro. I just love the community he's created on his channel, and I really love the way that he mindfully and thoughtfully breaks down YouTube tea. I found Peter during Dramageddon, like Dramageddon 1 is, I think, when I found Peter Bond, if not a little bit before that, is, back in the good old days of YouTube when a group of people taking a photo together and excluding someone with a middle finger, like in a "we don't need her," was a fucking scandal. Can we get back to the days where a friend group leaving someone out of a photo is the biggest scandal on YouTube? Because the rest of the shit got real dark. Like once we got into like crypto scams and people messaging minors, can we get back to the days where just shading someone in a photograph was a scandal that rocked the fucking platform? I miss those days. Like, I'll be scandalous. I'll get scandalous, y'all. I like candy corn. I will suffer no candy corn slander, and it's not time to get rid of pumpkin spice yet. I know Starbucks wants to roll out peppermint today. It's fucking November. Take a back seat. We still have pumpkin pie season before us to get to the end of November for Thanksgiving. Stop it. Stop it with Christmas. Putting up your Christmas decorations November 1 is too soon. There. Scandal. It's too soon. We're going to drop all the hot takes this morning. All of them. All of them. This is the internet I miss, where we can just argue over food and when it's too early to put up Christmas decorations and have a little bit of fun, because everything else has gotten so fucking dark and heavy. And it's just, we just need a little bit of lightness, and we're going to have it over here. So, I'm not done with pumpkin season until the very end of November. I'm not done. Stop it. And you know what? If you want to put up your Christmas decorations in the middle of August or in July because it's half Christmas, you do you. But don't try to get rid of my pumpkin cream cold brew in November. Pumpkin season's not over until we've had pumpkin pie on Thanksgiving. All right. With that, it's time to roll the intro and get into our quick bits. We're going to do both. We're going to do the intro. I should have introed, then soliloquied, then quick bits, but we're professionals here, so why would we do it that way? Hey there. If we haven't met yet, I'm Emily D. Baker, the badass lawyer and everyone's favorite legal commentator. I'm the host of The Emily Show, and I break down the legal shit behind the news and pop culture stories we all want to talk about. I have been a licensed attorney for over 15 years, but this is not legal advice. I should warn you, I'm a big fan of the cursey words. This channel is where the law nerds unite to talk about facts, not fuckery. See, I was all prepared to share my screen and show you guys stuff and get all ready. And then I realized that the browser that I often use to share screens on the new computer is not all logged in. So we're going to have to use the other browser, the disfavored browser today. The one, well, it'll be fine. We're not sharing video. So everything should just be fine. But again, we are professionals. We switch computers so we can do more trial live streaming, and then everything is still, not together. Wait a second. The Irish cream cold brew is back. Here's my beef with the Irish cream cold brew. Here's my issue with the Irish cream cold brew. They bring out the Irish cream cold brew, but then they get rid of it in February. Like, bring out the Irish cream cold brew in December. Let pumpkin live the Starbucks. Hi. Big fan. Longtime listener. Been buying overpriced drinks since I was, I don't know, since I left UMass and then moved to Seattle. Because at UMass, look, y'all, with your Dunkin', there were not nearly as many Dunkin' Donuts in California. California, we had not Dunkin'. Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf, yes. Starbucks, yes. Go to UMass, they're like Dunkin' or die. That's it. That's all you got. So once I moved back from UMass and back to Southern California, then back to the Starbucks addiction. So like college, Starbucks. Here's what the people want. Pumpkin through November. Pumpkin Pie Day. I'm sorry, Thanksgiving, Pumpkin Pie Day, official Pumpkin Pie Day. And then pumpkin pie breakfast season comes after Pumpkin Pie Day because pumpkin pie becomes an acceptable breakfast food after Thanksgiving. Look, just pumpkin spice me through Black Friday. And then you can roll out the new cold brew in December, the Irish cream cold brew. It's delightful. December is when you want to start putting booze in your coffee anyway. It's perfect. Because, then let that drink ride through March. Stop getting rid of it before St. Patrick's Day. Keep the Irish cream cold brew through St. Patrick's Day. Why are you getting rid of it in February? Where is the planning? The salted caramel cold brew can fucking wait. It gets summer. It can chill for a minute. Can we just redo the scheduling? Can we just shift it like a month? That's all. And if you want to bring out the peppermint drinks in November, bring out the peppermint in November, but leave the cold brews alone, or let them coexist. Or let them coexist for like a month. One or the other. Just you can't get rid of the pumpkin spice until the end of November. That's it. That's all. That's all. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Also, Starbucks, I'm here. Just call me. I realize that you can't sponsor me because I say fuck way too often for your brand awareness. It's fine. But can you just leave me my pumpkin spice through the end of November? That's all a girl wants. What a girl wants. We should get to quick bets. We should get to quick bets. Shouldn't we? Are you guys ready for the return of quick bets? It's been too long. I miss quick bets. If this is your first quick bets, because some of you are new on the live. If this is your first quick bets, go ahead and let me know. We got to get to it. We used to just sing the intro, and now we have like an official one. Quick bets. Just because I love the intro that we use for the channel. The intro we use for the channel is actually music that I had created for the podcast. And that's fantastic. So let us get to our first story. Are you guys following everything going on with the Girardis? It's hard to follow everything. And I have kind of it's a legal opinion. It's probably also unpopular, but it's a legal opinion. For those of you not following the Girardis closely, Tom Girardi was a famed plaintiff's attorney in California. His third wife, Erica Girardi, Erica Jane, is a Real Housewife of Beverly Hills. What has unfolded since 2020 has been the largest scale legal scandal I've ever seen. The Murdaugh scandal is adjacent but different for me. The Murdaugh scandal involves less money stolen from clients at this point, but the Murdaugh scandal also has like murder allegations involved. So it's separate and apart. So far, we haven't gotten to any murder allegations in the Girardi case. I don't expect that we will. If we do, I will be stunned. But we have this massive legal scandal. And because Erica Girardi is insensitive on social media, facts, because she comes across very cold on Real Housewives, she makes good TV, but facts. She says things like, I give a fuck about me, which again might be the truth. But when you say it on TV, when you were talking about victims of plane crashes who your husband stole money from, it doesn't come across well to the audience or to anyone. So Erica has been difficult. She is also the most prominent figure in all of this other than Tom Girardi because of Housewives. And because Housewives was filming when all of this was going down. All of it. But there's not been enough attention paid to the other attorneys at Girardi Keese. Look, Erica Girardi spent that money. I still don't know, and I still have not seen that she knew where that money was coming from. And here's why. In all of the filings and in going through all of the stuff with all of the settlements that Tom Girardi had, he had multiple billion-dollar settlements. Billion with a B settlements. Some of the largest settlements that we've ever seen. Some of the first largest settlements that we'd ever seen in plaintiff's law. And he was taking 30 to 40% of those as fees on top of costs. So maybe it's just me, but if your spouse, who is 30 plus years older than you are, I believe, because she's in her 50s, he's in his 80s, your spouse is decades older than you are, is the one with the professional career, and is like, just just spend the money. If your spouse is bringing home 40% of $1 billion, aren't you like, oh, we're good? Like, we're good. Like, we're good. It kind of recalibrates your relationship with wealth and money when you wouldn't you just be like, we've got money forever? And then for multiple billions and hundreds of $1 million settlements, aren't you just like, we good? You put shit on your American Express, he pays it. How do you know what account he's paying it when he pays the bills? If he's not communicating that with you. Do I think Tom Girardi was communicating all of that with Erica? No. Do I think Tom Girardi was probably like, shut up, look pretty? Probably. She's the third wife and much younger. Is that unreasonable to believe? I don't know if she knew where he was getting the money from, and I don't know if she knew all the fuckery going on at the law firm. She absolutely spent the money. She has not dealt with the situation well since it is broken. She seems to me to be acting like she's backed into a corner and just lashing out at everybody, trying to survive. She's gone into full survival mode. Not to excuse her behavior, because it doesn't, but I still don't know what she knew. If I will change that opinion if more comes out to prove that she knew. The attorneys at Girardi Keese seem to have been facilitating this by covering for Tom Girardi. And that's what came out in this latest opinion from the federal court in Illinois, is that these other attorneys knew. They knew. One of them, the son-in-law, was a signatory on the accounts where this money is moving. We talked about Erica Girardi's earrings, the ones that are worth like 1.3 that she was showing off on the show, and everybody was just like, ugh. She's like, That money came directly out of a client trust account. Prove to me that Erica knew that money came directly out of a client trust account, because I don't know that she did. Once she found out that the earrings came directly from a client trust account, I am surprised she didn't say, fuck it, just take them. I don't want anything to do with this. His mistress did. His mistress was like, here's the jewelry back, sell it. The mistress judge. Go watch those videos if you're like, what are we even saying right now? The mistress judge. Go watch those videos about the mistress giving back jewelry that was purchased for her. How Erica has behaved since she found out is separate and apart for me from what she knew before all of this broke. I've put those two different things in categories. So I'm surprised she didn't behave differently. She didn't. She isn't. But the attorneys knew. And Judge Durkin in Illinois doesn't give a fuck. As Phil DeFranco would say, he's the BAMF of the day. He's just coming for these attorneys. They were not held in contempt. Tom Girardi has previously been held in contempt in Illinois in the Lion Air case. The Lion Air case is the Boeing the Boeing plane disaster that killed everyone on board, where a lot of these victims of Tom Girardi are the widows and orphans of those who died in the plane crash. So the client victims in this case are the surviving family members of those that were lost in the Boeing air disaster. Boeing paid Girardi Keese for the clients. Girardi Keese didn't pay the clients. Girardi Keese sent letters, or tried to send letters, to the clients that what the judge said were full of lies. The judge called this behavior that could easily be sanctionable or hold someone in contempt. But because Edelson PC, which is the co-counsel law firm, local counsel in Illinois, Edelson PC went to their legal insurer and was like, these clients didn't get paid, and sorted it out with their legal insurance. So they sorted it out with the legal insurance. The clients have been paid. So the judge is like, sanctioning these attorneys doesn't make sense because the wrong has been resolved. Kind of. The clients have been made whole. So if the clients have been made whole, what else can I sanction you for? So instead, the judge was like, let me help the prosecutors, the other trials, and everything else. Instead of just saying motion denied, this judge went on for, let's pull it up together. Me earlier talking about my screen sharing, me still not sharing my screen. By the way, my camera on off button and my screen share button right next to each other. We figured that out quickly because we are professionals. Where is, all right, this is just going to be, I need 1 second to rearrange the screens because of course I do, because why would anything just be ready? Who are we? Who are we? That's not the one I want. I want this one. All right, there we go. So this judge literally said, let me go ahead and tell you what I have to think for 14 pages. Let me tell you what I think. This judge could have said the client victims have been made whole by Edelson PC. And so there's nothing else that I can do. Instead, he said that plus let me help. Plus let me help. Girardi admitted he had not paid the clients the full settlement amount and that he did not have the money to pay them the balance. $2 million roughly. In December 14th, the court found Girardi and his firm in civil contempt and entered a judgment against them in the amount outstanding. So they were held in contempt, not these specific attorneys. This motion was these attorneys, the son-in-law and Griffin, so Lyra and Griffin, these attorneys, whether they should be sanctioned, and Edelson PC. Edelson PC, who brought the motion, was, hey, your co-counsel, what did you know? What did you know? And why didn't you bring it to the court's attention sooner? And that's what a lot of the contempt hearing, I did videos on this. I attended by Zoom some of the contempt hearings. That's really what the judge wanted to know. What did you know and when, and why wasn't it brought to my attention? Edelson PC knew much later than the attorneys that worked at Girardi Keese, which I think is which is what I got from listening to the hearings too. I'm not surprised that's what the judge said. The motion implicated Girardi associates David Lyra and Keith Griffin. By the way, Edelson PC is still suing Erica Girardi, these attorneys, and others. Subsequently, the Edelson firm brokered a settlement with its insurance carrier, resulting in the clients being paid in full. If you're watching Housewives of Beverly Hills in the chat, Diana Jenkins made like a PR statement that she was going to help pay some of these victims. No, they've been paid by Edelson PC's insurer. If you're going to ask about what happened with Girardi Keese's insurance, it seems that Girardi Keese didn't carry insurance. All the lawyers in the chat, your heads can go ahead and explode. Billion-dollar settlements, they didn't seem to carry insurance. The settlements with the insurer satisfy the primary concern in addressing the motion, meaning making the clients whole. But the judge does say, to the extent any of the conduct at issue here was contemptuous or sanctionable, and at least some of it certainly was, there is no longer any party to be made whole and no action that needs to be compelled, which removes these issues from the realm of civil contempt and the court's power to sanction this case. Evaluation of counsel's conduct is left to more proper authorities, whether it be the state bar, criminal prosecutors, or one of several ongoing civil proceedings. The judge chose to say that. There are other proper authorities. This is the judge saying, excuse me, state bar, would the real state bar please stand up? Because we'd like you to look into this. And criminal prosecutors. The court alerted the U.S. attorney for the district to the facts of this case when this motion was first filed because Girardi's conduct is unquestionably criminal. So for all of the grace that I will give to what Erica knew or did not know at the beginning, she knows now. And if she goes on TV again and says alleged victims, we don't even know. You now have a ruling of a judge that talks about Girardi's conduct being unquestionably criminal. So the victims of your husband deserve some respect and deserve some dignity and deserve to be acknowledged. Girardi and his firm are in bankruptcy proceedings, and then they go through all of that. The court went through the lies and the letters that were intended to be sent to clients, the things that were told to clients to kind of lull them into going after going after more from this. And at the end of this decision, the judge said that Tom Girardi's actions are a stain on the legal profession and, due to the international nature of this case, have damaged the reputation of the American legal system. All of the plaintiffs in this case were citizens and residents of another country, many of whom do not speak English and have little to no experience with American society, and certainly not its court system. Most are not very well off. They have all suffered the tragic loss of family members. In need of help, they trusted American attorneys to shepherd them through the legal process and achieve at least some relief for the losses, with amounts of money that are likely life-changing in their country. Girardi took advantage of vulnerable people at their most vulnerable moments, and he used the prestige of his profession, the reputation of American courts, and the imprimatur of this court to do it. Imprimatur? I'm going to pronounce this wrong. It is nearly impossible to mend such a breach of trust. The best we can do is demonstrate that the legal system Girardi besmirched has the ability to rectify its errors and bring bad actors to account. With the hearings and settlements initiated by the Edelson firm, a step has been taken in that direction. I don't think that there could be a stronger rebuke of an attorney. And I really think that this judge has gone a long way to again signal to not just prosecutors and law enforcement, but to the state bars that there was criminal activity here unquestionably, that there are things that are contemptuous to court, and that these attorneys did not act with the integrity and dignity of their profession. That's what this seems to say for me. This is the strongest we've seen anyone rebuke the Girardi case firm. And there are those that want to come after Jay Edelson and be like, why didn't you say anything sooner? Honestly, this argument goes along to what Erica knew or didn't know. I think Girardi was putting off the Edelson firm because that's what they said in their testimony. That he was like, I've got health issues, I've got this, I've got that. And they're like, okay. And they were trying to give grace. So if he's putting off other law firms and other lawyers, is he bringing his wife into the fold? Do we have any evidence of that? And we have evidence from these hearings that someone was forging one of the signatories' names on some of these checks, the son-in-law's name. He said that they were forged. So there are those who have been like, look, Erica's signature's on these. When I pulled up those documents, I'm like, is it though? These aren't, are these really Erica's signatures? Because they could be forged too. So this judge is not having it. This legal scandal is very, very, very far from over. And we're going to keep up with it. I'm going to do a whole podcast on all the updates in the Girardi case, including a deeper dive into what the judge found here, because there are other lawsuits that have been filed that I have not gotten to cover yet. There's some shit that's popping off in these cases, and we are absolutely going to absolutely go through that. We need to talk about Depp v. Heard real quick. I see all of you in the chat. Carol with an E, why can't judges practice law from the bench? They can, unless you're Daryl Brooks and think that they can't. Daryl Brooks, in my opinion, is confused between a judge not being able to assist a pro per defendant and a judge working on the bench. So when Daryl Brooks says you can't practice law from the bench, they're practicing law, they're judges. They're lawyers that become judges. That's what they're doing. It's not their job to make law from the bench, even though sometimes that happens by reviewing other laws. But yes, judges, every time they put on the robe, are essentially practicing law. So they can. Daryl Brooks doesn't understand the legal system. Shock. So anyway, Girardi, let's talk real quick. Let's talk just real quick about Depp v. Heard. I know, and I've seen it popping up in the chat. I've seen it. Depp's appellate briefs have been filed. I don't have the appellate briefs yet. Hopefully, I will have them in short time. I am going to pull up the docket and show you what I mean. And am I prepared to do that? Of course I am. So there's a note that Depps are in. If you look at Law and Lumber, and I saw him in the chat, hi Rob. If you look, are they, if Rob, if they're in, if you have them already, this stream is going to take a very different turn, indeed. So, and you might, and we might have to do a second stream, but there is a note there, but Rob pointed out on Twitter that, hold on, as I'm trying to do two things at once. Rob pointed out very well on Twitter that there is time to file an extension for appeal. So even if Amber Heards are not noted by the system yet, it does not mean that they are not in. So let me just show you what I'm talking about real quick. I'm just going to pull up the system and put in the numbers and show you the things. So let's go to Depps first. So we'll go to Depps first. And again, I have not been, oh, that didn't copy and paste well. I have been working. So it's been crazy. I have not been on the internet. Rob, of course, sending stuff. Is this the full opening brief, Rob? It is. We might have to do another stream on the brief. There it is. Thanks, Rob. So already has it. I don't think hers is in yet. We'll have to do a Depp stream. I'll talk to the mods about when we can do that, because we've got to finish this other lawsuit today. Unless maybe we'll do it later. So when you pull up the documents, as Rob's like, no, we already have them. Let's see. Y'all, my internet is being sketchy today. This was going on last night. Emily, do you now need to also call your internet provider? Yep. Sorry, y'all. Today's just gonna be a day. Today's just gonna be a day. Anyway, going to the docket. This is Depp's docket. So this is Depp's appeal. And you can see that the opening briefs were received yesterday on the 2nd. So there we go. I'm sure they will be up on the internet. I will go over them at another time. We're not going to get to it today. Let's go and take a look at Amber Heard's real quick as we continue to zoom on before we get completely yeeted off because of my Wi-Fi. So let's see. I know Jordan's like, it's been a day, it's been a week, it's been weeks and weeks and weeks of just nonsense. But I'm gonna have to see where Dr. B is and ask him to call about the internet real quick. Let's see. Hey, can you? All right. So when we get to Amber Heard's streaming, it's so funny. YouTube yesterday posted something on Twitter and was like, no edit November. And I'm like, no edit November. Yeah, that's us. That's us all the time. So when we take a look at Amber Heard's, we can see that the appellate designations were filed, the appellee designations were filed, but we don't see the opening brief right here being received. So we are be received. Rob over at Law and Lumber made it very clear on Twitter that even after the deadline is passed, they have up to 10 days to ask for an extension after the deadline. The appellate courts aren't like the same way trial courts are. It's on a much different pacing. The pacing is much slower. They're just reviewing records, all of it. That's it. So that's what's going on. We will cover the Depp appeal now that it is in. Maybe we'll do an extra stream tomorrow to cover that appeal before I go out of town, and then maybe not do a stream next Tuesday. So I will talk to um the mods and figure out a time to do that. But let's see, 44 pages of an appellate brief. We can absolutely go through it. I'm sure others will go through it immediately today. We're booked and busy. We have things we have things to do, unfortunately. Bella Marie, I am well aware that Mars is in retrograde. I have been yep. Yep, it's not always Mercury that goes into retrograde that cause problems. Other planets also cause problems. It's so fun. It's so fun. It's so fun. So, I don't know. Maybe we will do a stream tonight. I'll talk to the mods and I'll talk to my family. Maybe we will just do it tonight. I'm not opposed to streaming twice in one day. All right. So, appellate brief in for, it's going to depend on my internet. Brief in for Depp, which I expect none of the media will cover. We will cover it. I expect to see nothing. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. Everyone will cover that. I'll cover it too when Herds comes in. And that. Ray said, did you get your Starbucks cup today? No, I started my day with calls this morning, and then I have call. It's going to be like that. There's a pinker one of this that I also want. All right, let's keep moving through topics. Just Miguelina, will you put up a pinned comment that Emily's internet is being shady? And we might go in and out and in and out. Well, not all the way. We can't say we might go in and out and in and out, but Emily's internet is being shady. I'm hardwired in and my internet's still being shady. So I apologize, chat. It's just going to be that way today. I am absolutely hardlined. So thank you all for the help, but I am hardlined. The internet is done. So I don't know where I need tech support. Where is my tech support? Did my tech support leave the house? We're just calling tech support. Y'all are, we're just, oh, don't screen cap the pause. It's going to be bad. Hey, are you at home? No, no. Our internet is being shady as fuck. Can you call them and ask what's going on? Are we united? Mm-hmm. Thank you. Bye. Help! Help! Oh, we definitely can't restart the router. We're sitting here. So Dr. B is help. Am I back? Oh, good. I'm back.
This is going to be a full-ass day. Next time it goes out, I'm just going to do this.
All right. I'm going to just start I'm just going to start doing musical interludes. The replay crew is going to be like, what did we miss? Nothing. We're timestamping it down below. Everything's working perfectly fine. Everything's great. Everything's fine. It's not like we're trying to be a streamer. It's not like every time people are like, do you miss living in Los Angeles? I'm like, oh my God, I love Middle Tennessee. I love the people. I love the food. I love Nashville. I love there's live music everywhere. The internet's so great. Nashville, don't do me dirty. Don't make me withdraw it. We need to talk about the Chrisley update because I am a little bit shook. Let me know if you guys have been following this story with me in the chat with just a thumbs up emoji. Let me know if you've been following this because y'all. Look, we went through the Chrisley motion for new trial. Of all of the motions for new trial, this one has been the one that I'm like, huh. We have some points here. I have some concerns. I have some concerns about the allegations that the, IRS agent that testified misled the jury about whether or not the Chrisleys had paid their taxes. I have questions. I have concerns. So of all the motions for new trial, this one and the Maxwell one, I'm like, yeah, I got questions. Uh-oh, the internet's about to do its thing again. Now I can see it happening on my other windows. So I really thought that this motion for new trial was well taken. We have not had a chance to go through the government's response yet because we were covering the Brooks trial and BravoCon. But the judge issued an order at the end of last week when, again, I was covering the Brooks trial and denied the motion for new trial. And I am kind of shocked. Like, I'm kind of shocked. And I want to go through this ruling, but you know what the judge didn't do? Issue a full fucking ruling. Here's what the judge issued. This is everything that the judge issued. There are several matters currently pending before the court. In the interest of efficiency and because the sentencing hearing is set for Monday, November 21st, the court hereby pronounces the below rulings. Footnote 1. The court will issue an order fully setting forth its reasoning and analysis regarding the ruling below at a later date. When? When? Footnote 1. The court notes that defendants Todd Chrisley, Julie Chrisley filed a motion for telephonic status conference on October 24th, which the undersigned denied by an order dated October 26th. In that motion, the Chrisley defendants indicated that 2 days may be needed for sentencing in this case. At present, the court is amiable to this scheduling request. However, the court directs the government and defendants to confer and submit a brief joint filing within 7 days of this order, stating their positions on whether the court should set aside a second day for sentencing. Upon review and consideration, the court denies the Chrisley defendants' joint motion for new trial, denies defendants, the accountant's motion for new trial, denies the Chrisley's joint motion for judgment of acquittal. Additionally, the court grants the government's motion to exceed the page limit in their filings, grants defendants' motion to adopt Todd and Julie's request to join the motion for new trial. Okay, but denied the motion. Pursuant to the court's September 12th order, the sentencing hearing in this case remains set for November 21st at 10 a.m. The court directs the government and defendants to submit a brief joint filing within 7 days of this order. Why though? Why though? Why though? This is going to go up on appeal. This is absolutely going to go up on appeal. And we will be following this all the way to the end. It doesn't mean they won't be sentenced pending appeal. If I'm their attorneys, I am going to say there are real questions here. Can you sentence them to home confinement pending the end of appeal and suspend whatever prison sentence there may be? This is so frustrating because for me, there are real questions about that testimony because the testimony of a federal agent lends credibility. And one of the witnesses that testified didn't really have a lot of credibility. So when you take a witness that's not super credible and then bolster it with a witness that is an IRS agent that is credible, it's really hard for me to parse out which testimony mattered more because they work together. So the court was just like, denied, I'll tell you why later. It's just so frustrating. It's just so frustrating. So we will see what happens from here. It will be appealed, but the court has made it clear that they are going to sentence the Chrisleys. Look, 'tis the season for sentencing. The sentencings we have that we are tracking as Emily D. Baker, lawyer plus law nerd, associate counsel and paralegals, Jen Shaw's being sentenced in November. Elizabeth Holmes is being sentenced in November. I talked about that in yesterday's podcast. Sunny Balwani is being sentenced in November. They're both from Theranos. The Chrisleys are being sentenced in November. Daryl Brooks is being sentenced in November. Do we have anything else that's being sentenced in November? Hopefully not. There's a lot of sentencings coming in November. So that's what we're covering. So the Chrisley motion was denied with no fucking reason. Great. Thanks a lot, Your Honor. We want to know why. And Morgan said, and the Parkland sentencing happened yesterday. The Parkland sentencing did happen yesterday. It's all of the life without parole sentences. So anyway, lots of sentencings this month. All right. We have one more update and then we're getting to Nate and Bouzy. And we're like, it sounds like Bad and Bougie. Nate and Bouzy. My girl's bad. Anyway. And that's where my brain goes. Welcome to the unfettered ADHD-ness of this. We need to talk about Alec Baldwin's latest loss in court real quick, just because I am dealing with this. Let's see. My husband just texted me and said the entire system needs to be reset. I will do that after stream. So they're going to do a reset at their end too. So helpful. Was Jen Shaw moved to December? I need to go look. It might have been. Jen Shaw might have been moved to December. It was in November. I need to go look. So it's on my list of things to do next week while I'm traveling. I have literally a to-do list of like when I have internet on the plane. One of the things I do when I'm traveling, if there isn't like news breaking as I'm on the plane and I'm watching that, I try to get through DMs, like on Patreon first, then Insta, then Twitter. So I try to get through DMs and emails on the plane. If the Wi-Fi on the plane works, my last couple of flights, the Wi-Fi didn't work at all, which was really frustrating. So if I have Wi-Fi on the first world fucking problems, my Wi-Fi on the flight didn't work. When I was in college traveling for like water polo games and stuff, I would travel with like my CD player and like a Case Logic book of CDs. My backpack was just a book of CDs like this, a book of it. Yeah, this is exactly what happened with my internet. Did you try turning it off and turning it back on again? Mm-hmm. Yes, we're going to have to clear the line. We're going to do that after the stream. And we're going to do that for sure. But I used to get a Case Logic thing of CDs and I would just spend my time like switching out music. And now I'm just like, my Wi-Fi is not working. I can't scroll TikTok while I'm on the flight. The world that we live in. Anyway, so that's what I do on planes. So all like updating my calendar of schedulings and stuff and going through every case we're covering and updating them is what's going to happen while I'm traveling, because I'm going to be in California for like almost a full week. So I have big plans for next week. I will probably only be streaming once next week. And we have a members only live while I'm traveling. So we'll be talking about stuff there, but let's talk about Alec Baldwin. Did I swoop? I don't know. Gratuitous bonus swoopage. Alec Baldwin can't escape lawsuit from Rust script supervisor. I kind of forecasted that this was going to be the ruling based on the judge's other rulings in this case. This is coming from the Hollywood Reporter. I really like their legal reporting. Let's go ahead and scrape it so we don't need all the ads. This is the script supervisor, Mamie Mitchell's civil suit. The other defendants have been removed from this suit. And that's been really interesting to look at because the judge, and we went through that a number of weeks back, but the judge was looking at this going, I don't know how you can say these defendants, producers, whoever, knew that Alec Baldwin might have recklessly discharged a weapon when you're saying Alec Baldwin didn't know it was loaded. So how can you have a negligence claim here when there's no way you can show that the negligence is outside of Baldwin? So from those earlier rulings, I looked at this going, well, the judge is going to be looking just at Baldwin then in this lawsuit, not the producers and everyone else. And that's what has happened here. The ruling represents a major win for Mamie Mitchell after the court dismissed most claims against the producers of the movie. Right. They're holding the person that was holding the gun responsible. And when you're looking at negligence, I don't know how someone else can be negligent for something they didn't know that you were going to do or were there for. Alec Baldwin must face a lawsuit from Rust script supervisor Mamie Mitchell over his role in the on-set shooting that resulted in the death and injury of 2 crew members. Well, the death of Helena Hutchins and the injury of Joel Souza, but okay. The judge ruled on Tuesday and refused to dismiss the claims of assault, IIED, and negligence against the actor. He found that Mitchell established extreme and outrageous conduct on the part of Baldwin, who unexpectedly cocked and fired a loaded handgun, despite being aware of a disastrous safety culture on the set of Rust. That is going to be a very good ruling for others who are suing Baldwin. The armory person, meteorologist, this is a great question. The armorer, did not make a motion to dismiss in this case, to the best of my memory. Is sued in this case, but didn't make a motion to dismiss. These are all coming on demurs in California. So they're saying, hey, I don't belong in this lawsuit. And a lot of the defendants won those motions, but those were producers and ancillary defendants that weren't there. But Baldwin tried it too. And they're like, oh, no. You were holding the thing. So what we're not going to do. So this is a big win. And this should, I think, encourage the other attorneys that are suing Baldwin at all for similar claims. There are multiple lawsuits from one of the on-set medical personnel, from the gaffer, there's a suit from the armorer with regard to somebody else. So all of it is happening. So the judge said, look, he unexpectedly cocked and fired a loaded handgun, and that's extreme and outrageous, which means you've shown in the pleadings enough in the pleadings to move forward. And that's what they wanted. Enough in the pleadings to move forward. Yvette, great question in the chat. Is this civil or criminal? This is the civil case. Intentional infliction of emotional distress and negligence. These are all civil claims. We don't have a criminal case yet in this, but what we do know from other media reports and mostly from TMZ, so grain of salt, though TMZ does tend to have sources inside most places, is that the investigative report in Santa Fe is finally done. So we might see criminal charges soon. I imagine if we're going to see criminal charges, it's going to happen while I'm on a plane on Monday. Because why wouldn't it? Because why wouldn't it? So as I just go ahead and put that out into the universe, I'm like, great. Deanna asking the real questions. We still don't know the answer to this question. Why was live ammunition even on set? We still don't have an answer, and I hope that we get answers. The best speculation on that I've seen is in the script supervisor lawsuit that I covered here on the channel. Hannah Gutierrez-Reed's lawsuit has some speculation about it. And there's some interesting timelines in that in the armorer lawsuit where Hannah Gutierrez-Reed is suing the prop person who's providing stuff. There's an interesting timeline of how just a brand new box of ammunition shows up in the prop trailer that morning. She didn't know why it was there. So it's very interesting, the timing in that lawsuit. That lawsuit is full of allegations and shade. But their theory of the case, is very interesting. The timing's very interesting. So for Mamie Mitchell, this is a win because once you get past the demur, you get to discovery. And for Mamie Mitchell's lawsuit, what they're going to want to get to is all the communications that were going on about this unsafe culture on set, the fact that there had been other misfires. This gets them to the point where they can get enough information to potentially win or settle this lawsuit. So this is a big win in court for script supervisor Mamie Mitchell because it allows you to get into that discovery phase. Emails, text messages. What did Baldwin know? What was Baldwin being told by producers? And that will absolutely help move this through. So with that, do we have any other quick bits? I think that's the end of quick bits. We made it through quick bits in only an hour. Emily, quick bits are supposed to be quick. The internet today has other plans. We should change the lights. We're gonna go code red. The fuckery being the internet today. And except that my lights are operated by the Wi-Fi. We may or may not go to code red. Let's get back into Bad and Boozy. Can we just call it now? Michelle said, how does one see a box of ammo on set and not question it extensively? It seems like she did question it and was like, where did this come from? And it was like, we need to go. She was being kind of reigned over by the head prop person per her lawsuit and the other. So Michelle, I would highly recommend checking out that video on the script supervisor's lawsuit. It is illuminating and it's allegations and shade. It's very, very interesting. And then there's one more question that I'm going to get to before we move on to the Bad and Boozy. Question, do you know if Baldwin ever played around with a gun in an unsafe way before this incident? On that set, we don't know. I've seen a couple things with regard to that in the media. I'm trying to remember where, but there at the very beginning of the Rust shooting, there was a lot of information about whether or not people had been using the guns to shoot at cans and stuff on set, not in a training way, in like an entertainment way. But I've not seen that in any of the filings at all. And I think that it would have been alleged in these civil filings if that had happened. So I don't have a lot of faith in those reports that came out in early days. And this is, if I've learned anything about not just existing in the world, but doing what I did for so long, is that initial reports, especially when there are tragedies, initial reports can be wrong. Initial reports absolutely change. They should be corrected. A lot of information and speculation comes out right in the wake of a tragedy. And when you get in almost now a year later, when you get into the legal filings, the criminal investigation, you start to get the facts underlying it. But in the moments and days after something happens, you get a ton of information. Not all of it is accurate. And people are very eager to talk about it. So with that, we should move on to Nate and Bouzy. I've seen a lot of questions, and I know the mods have addressed it. I've seen a lot of questions about the Parkland case. If you guys want to ask questions about it, we can talk a little bit in Q&A if we have time. It's not on the topics for today because it was all streaming. And I have not followed it super closely, truly because for me, watching victim impact statements is always hard. It always tugs on a nerve of the impact statements that I have personally sat through. It brings back a lot of that emotionality. And I send a kid off to high school every day. So the Parkland victim impact statements are very, very hard to sit through, I think, for anyone. And I haven't followed it as closely. I know there's been a lot going on in court between the judge, the defense, the prosecution. If you guys have questions, during Q&A is when I get to the kind of the questions on this topic and then off topic. But that's that. So thank you for asking. But Q&A at the end of when I get through the topics helps. I try to stick really truly to the topics I'm covering at the time, or we will end up down an ADHD rabbit hole and never finish going over this lawsuit that so many of you are here for today saying, can we do this? Can we do this? So Nate and Bouzy. Nate and Bouzy. Were y'all here on Tuesday? Because we're going to do a quick road so far, and then we're going to get back into this lawsuit. Nate the lawyer is a tremendous content creator here on YouTube who is suing some dude on Twitter. That's so disrespectful of me. Who is suing Christopher Bouzy for defamation over things said on Twitter. I will disclaim, and I disclaimed on Tuesday, and I will disclaim through all of this, I like Nate. I know Nate as a human. I like Nate as a content creator. I have not seen anything that I've really liked from Christopher Bouzy. I'm blocked on Twitter. He's come after people that I consider to be my friends. So my coverage of this will always be leaning with the I like Nate, but I'm still going to tell you what I think of these cases, because as much as I might like someone or not like someone, we're still going to look at the claims and the causes of action on their face, knowing that I knowing that I really like Nate. So I'm always going to be clear about that because again, that's the perspective that I'm coming from. But we're going to play devil's advocate, and that's what you do as a lawyer. You have to learn to keep two sides of your brain so you can be fair. The most important thing, I think, for any attorney, but especially in criminal law, especially as a prosecutor, you have to make sure justice is done. Even when you want justice for your victims, there are times when you very much want justice for a victim, but you do not have enough to prove a case. And so you learn very, very quickly how to separate the two between this is how I want the world to be, this is how it actually is. And that's how I look at this case too. This is how I want the world to be, and this is how it actually is, with the caveat of I really like Nate. And I don't know, Christopher Bouzy, I don't understand the science here. I just don't. We're gonna lippy. We've got a lipstick today. Why? Because I left my lip gloss in the other room. I actually really like this. This is a Girardi Cosmetics in Rodeo Drive. I normally wear this lip liner with the gloss, but today we're just lipsticking. We need it to happen. That sounded it. We're swooping again. We're just. Let's go through how the lawsuit describes the parties and then get back to this is part 2. We covered this a bit on Tuesday in part 1. So for all of you that are blocked by Bouzy, we put up another poll. Return the favor. Just return the favor. Return the favor. If someone blocks you, return the favor so they can't creep at you behind a block, because it's cowardly to creep on somebody behind a block. It's like, I'm going to block you and then I'm going to like at you and subtweet you. Stop it. Stop it. So the parties. Plaintiff Nate the lawyer is a former university police officer of the city of New York, a member of the New York Bar, former Bronx County ADA, and former law school instructor who created and operates the YouTube channel under the name Nate the Lawyer, found at channel link. Defendant Christopher E. Bouzy is a serial failed entrepreneur and, in the opinion of many, a serial successful swindler.
This is a quick reminder that lawsuits are allegations and shade. Allegations and shade. Here's the shade. Lots of shade. All the shade.
So, just a reminder, lawsuits are allegations and shade. All right, let's try to get to where we were. We were just getting into the different parts of this lawsuit. All of you were like blocked. David G said life is great without Twitter. I mean, I might join the life is great without Twitter, but right now I'm here for the chaos of Twitter. I'm here to I know that Twitter is a dumpster fire, and I'm here to kind of watch what happens with new ownership. I'm interested. Twitter under new management. I just want to see what happens. I'm just here to watch it. I'm curious. I have popcorn. I don't care one way or the other. Do I like being verified? Sure. Why? Because then people can't get in the DMs and try to tell you that they're me and you've won some kind of contest and you need to pay some kind of shit. That I hate. But that happens to be more on Instagram. Who doesn't want to verify me? So whatever. You guys are like, read the part about you again. I don't even know why it's in there. I don't even know. You guys were making jokes about how shady this was. Look, this is so shady that my pale ass would go out without sunscreen. That's how shady this lawsuit is. All right. We were going to go to code red for the internet. Now we're just going code red for all the things. Let us get into it. This lawsuit is very well broken down, and I appreciate the way that it's broken down into talking about what Bot Sentinel is. We didn't get through the Bot Sentinel stuff, as I recall. So we're gonna get to the Bot Sentinel stuff. We got through this rando press release, and now we're gonna get into the rest of it. I'm not gonna leave the slurs that this account is using up on the screen because we're not, and we'll just get into the rest of Bot Sentinel. So they're talking about an account that uses all kinds of slurs being rated as normal. This is the scale of ratings. So oh, there we go. This is better. The scale: normal, satisfactory, disruptive, problematic. I like the scientific language of problematic. How do you scientifically define problematic? And what's disruptive? Like, how do you define disruptive? A lot of us are disruptive. I consider, you know, I consider content creators, independent content creators are disruptive by nature. This is going far and well aside from Bot Sentinel and however they determine what disruptive is. But like, I consider Mr. Beast to be disruptive. So many people choose to watch a Mr. Beast video versus a traditional TV show. Mr. Beast is disruptive in industries because of his popularity as a content creator. Content creators who try to democratize and make available information that would otherwise be gatekept by media corporations are disruptive. I will proudly be disruptive forever. Will be disruptive. I also was the kid who used to talk in class, so I was disruptive there. But disruptive, what do you mean by disruptive? Does disruptive for Bot Sentinel's rating mean says shit you don't like? Because I feel like it is. I feel like it is. You say things I don't like. You're disruptive. What does it even mean? What do these words mean in a scientific context? And what's normal anyway? Also, who wants to be normal? Much more fun to be disruptive. Much more fun to be disruptive. Nisa said, with behavioral science, we tend to observe the clients and then define what is that for them. So how, like, I just don't understand how they are choosing to determine what accounts are problematic and what are disruptive. It seems to me that Bot Sentinel, my opinion, from everything I've seen from all of this going down, is Bot Sentinel is outcome driven. And so the decisions seem to be made in an outcome determinative way. Certain accounts that say certain things, they want to be problematic. Other accounts, they leave alone, which is why they're bringing up the account with the slurs and that account's getting a normal rating. Okay, so slurs aren't problematic, because I would think slurs on Twitter are one of the most problematic things. If somebody's just out there spewing hate, what's more problematic than that? Apparently, Nate the lawyer questioning things is more problematic than that. Asking questions is the most problematic you can do, I guess. So, in other words, yes, confirmation bias. That was a long way of me getting to confirmation bias. A very long way of me getting to confirmation bias. Outcome determinative. So, in other words, while Bot Sentinel gives the impression of rigorous empirical analysis of social media phenomena, it's little more than a disguised digital attack dog. This is the allegations and shade part. It's for this reason that Amber Heard's team turned to Bot Sentry. Is that the company? I guess, as the linchpin of a media campaign that would blame a secret network of misogynists utilizing bots and platform manipulation, and not the revelations about her conduct that emerged during the Depp Heard trial or jury verdict as the reason for Heard's plummeting reputation. Oh, good, we're caught up. This is where we were. Bot Sentinel's social media hit job. On July 25th, 2020, the Times of London published an article entitled Depp Heads Wage Cyber War on Amber Heard. I'm gonna have to go look at that. I didn't know. I didn't read. Somewhere during Depp Heard, I had to tune out of the media coverage of like, this fandom's more toxic than that fandom. Lots of fandoms can be toxic, but the toxic behavior that I saw online did not just go one way. I saw toxic behavior going both ways. And I'm not going to say to anyone that I didn't see toxic behavior from Depp stans, but I also saw toxic behavior from Heard stans. But the accounts that I saw people behind questioning is not toxic. Not believing someone's not toxic. Opinions generally aren't toxic. You know, saying anything with absolutes makes me a little twitchy because lawyer. But I really think some of the most problematic Depp accounts that I saw were accounts that didn't seem to have people behind them. And I wondered how much those were actually Johnny Depp accounts or fan accounts, or whether those were part of this campaign to see, look, everyone's being mean to me. Because Twitter is so anonymous. You don't know. Who's behind the bots? We're going to be talking about internet bots forever because I want to know who's behind the bots that were attacking Garcelle's son too. So it all comes back to Housewives and Depp v. Heard, apparently. Quote unquote, Depp heads are obsessive fans of Johnny Depp. The source of the claim that 13 active inauthentic accounts had been recently created specifically to target the Twitter account of Miss Heard was Bot Sentinel. 13? It only takes a few accounts to be disruptive, I guess, on Twitter. I'm not a Twitter expert. On May 3rd, 2022, Rolling Stone, the former counterculture Bible. Rolling Stone's not really counterculture anymore. The former counterculture Bible, best known in more recent times for its own failed defamation defense. Jeez, the slander. I'm teasing. It's litigation. It can't be defamation in litigation because litigation privilege. I'm joking, but the Rolling Stone shade is strong, and I didn't get through that sentence because I was busy laughing. The former counterculture Bible, best known for in more recent times for its own failed defamation defense arising out of a 2014 article about the supposed brutal attack at the University of Virginia, published an article entitled "Are Johnny and Amber's Stands for Real?" Cruel taunts, slanderous comments, and ugly death threats on social media have some wondering if the former couple's online supporters are human beings at all. Interesting. Let's see. Marissa said, Emily, go back to number 53. You skipped it, but it's so good. I think I covered it on, I think I covered all of this on, yeah, I covered this on Tuesday. So I covered all of this on Tuesday. That's why. We're picking up where we left off in this part 2, but thank you. It is so good. It is so good. Wait, I just got to this Chris Bouzy thing and I'm blocked. I've never heard of this person. Exactly. That's why we put up a poll. Because Bot Sentinel allows you, their program seemingly allows you to mass block people. It's a lot of a block. Stans are obsessive fans. Because of the Eminem song Stan. The sum referred to in the Rolling Stone subtitle was Bot Sentinel. On July 18th, 2022, entertainment website The Wrap, not WAP, not WAP, not the WAP, The Wrap published an article entitled Internet Trolls Inflated Amber Heard Hate on Twitter. Social media research firm finds Bot Sentinel found 672 accounts solely aimed at spreading hate towards Amber Heard. That same, these are, again, I am not opposed to Twitter finding accounts that do nothing but dox, send death threats, whatever. Targeted internet harassment and saying, I don't believe you, are two different things. How social media handles these things are very important questions that need, and conversations that need to be had. Absolutely. But there is a line between targeted internet harassment and you're a fucking liar. The same day, Variety published an article entitled Amber Heard supporters target of, quote, widespread harassment on Twitter, according to firm once hired by Amber Heard's lawyer. That firm was Bot Sentinel. So this is when the new PR company took over and these articles started getting, we started seeing these articles more and more and more. So, let's see. Also on July 18th, 2022, the UK Independent published an article entitled Amber Heard subject to one of the worst cases of cyberbullying during Johnny Depp trial study finds. Report looked at anti-Amber Heard Twitter campaigns during the defamation trial with her ex-husband. The report referred to by the Independent was bought by Amber Heard from defendant Bot Sentinel, which is concerning because the report was written by them, but they also had an interest in finding that. So, Bouzy guns for LawTube. CEG discussion of LawTube on Tuesday. In September of 2022, Bouzy turned his censorious attitude or censorious attention to LawTube, who, as set forth above, has been critical of the defense presented by Bot Sentinel's high-profile client, Amber Heard. Fair. Various LawTubers, including Plaintiff, had also taken to sharing critical takes of the widely reported Bot Sentinel claims of widespread troll bot activity engaged in coordinated social media attacks. The thing that's so hard for me when I'm looking at this is we don't have like a unified definition of what a troll bot is. I need a unified definition. And that's not a criticism of the lawsuit. That's a criticism of Bot Sentinel. Is a bot actually an account that is digitally puppeted by someone else, different than a sock puppet? Is it just a programmed bot account, or are we really talking about puppet accounts where one person is creating all these puppets? What are we actually talking about anyway? Bouzy, offended by the criticism, started using his Twitter account to focus attention on LawTubers he had deemed guilty of some kind of toxic troll-like behavior. Oh, the question asking. Quote, propaganda and fake news. This is why I have a shirt that says, I have questions. Question asking has become apparently highly disruptive. He demanded that YouTube delete their accounts. He did do that. On September 17th, 2022, Bouzy set his sights on plaintiff, tweeting, "Next up is Nate the lawyer." He went from being the son of two crackheads, quote, or paren his words, a drug dealer, paren his words, a cop, a prosecutor, to attacking journalists and me on social media. What journalists was Nate attacking? Was Nate critical of journalists? Were those journalists Kat Tenberg and Taylor Lorenz? Because they were still very pro-Heard during the post verdict, the post verdict, and they're allowed to do that. So let's see. Bouzy later deleted this tweet as well as the tweets reproduced. My rant about going after Nate for his parents is on Tuesday. Rant. And again, questioning someone, especially, I think it's fair to question when reporters use anonymous accounts as a source. I think it's fair to ask a question. How do you know this anonymous account isn't the PR team, isn't the person, is an actual account? How do you know that? It's fair to ask questions of people who are journalists by profession. It's fair to ask those questions. It's fair to be critical. However, trying to throw Nate's upbringing in his face earned a rant from me on Tuesday, which is why I ran out of time. Bouzy later deleted this tweet, as well as the tweets reproduced below, in which he doubled down on his attack of, and I'm going to say Nate the lawyer through this whole thing. Why? Because it plugs his channel. His attack on Nate the lawyer's veracity and professional qualifications, publishing yet more tweets also deleted later, insisting that Nate was lying about his credentials and would soon need a lawyer to defend himself against legal claims, and engaged in deceptive advertising. So these are some of the tweets. I'm sure there's a reasonable explanation for why we can't find him in the database where he claims he practices law. YouTube should really verify certain professionals' licenses. They can when it comes to medical. I wouldn't be opposed if they tried to do it with lawyers or allowing for that option. What's interesting is later, and maybe this will come up later, but later Bouzy tweeted that he knew where Nate's credentials were and didn't want to be accused of doxing. So he threw all these questions out there like, he's not really a lawyer anyway. Weird. And then admits that he knew that that wasn't true. I'm sure it'll come up. Keep reading, Emily. This is a first look, so keep reading. As a self-described authority on Twitter trolling and manipulation, Bouzy was acutely cognizant of how the engagement he was generating on Twitter through his attacks on the popular Nate would be converted into an advertisement for himself and Bot Sentinel, so he published one. While we wait on Nate the lawyer to locate his law license and the links to his New York Times, Forbes, and NBC articles, I'll share mine.
We're just going to get a little patty pat on the backy back. Look at my articles! Yay!
The next day, having learned that Nate the lawyer is in fact a New York attorney, Bouzy conceded on Twitter that his earlier claim to the contrary was false. But Bouzy, who for years has falsely claimed to be a software engineer, repeated his assertion that even if plaintiff really was a lawyer, he was still lying about having been a prosecutor. Right? The shade. As expected, that's not his real name. Yes, he was a cop and he became a lawyer in 2016. He was never a prosecutor. Attorney detail report. Texas mom went, so you've gone from he's not a lawyer to he's not a prosecutor. It's okay, Muffin, just say it. We got this on Tuesday too. Say you were wrong, it won't hurt. Okay, Muffin is going into my vernacular immediately. It's a much more fun bless your heart. It's a much more fun bless your heart. I have problems with, anyway, we'll keep going. I think Bouzy knew all along. That's my suspicion, is that Bouzy knew all along Nate was a lawyer and was just trying to malign his professional integrity. Opinion mine. Eventually, other Twitter users accused Bouzy of either doxing plaintiff by revealing plaintiff's real name, which, like many social media users, Nate the lawyer had chosen to keep private, or recklessly disregarding the truth of his claims. Look at the language of defamation here. Why do we feel like recklessly disregarding the truth? Simply Bell, no, Nate was a DA. Bouzy just said he wasn't. We need OK Muffin merch. We need OK Muffin merch with the Muffin Man holding the muffins. We need a Muffin Man holding the muffin saying OK Muffin. It crosses over so many cases. So many cases. So let's see. OK Muffin. We love it so much. All of you saying that you're blocked. Oh, it's so much. It's so much. All right, let's keep going. Recklessly disregarding the truth goes to the language of defamation of a public figure with malice. Reckless disregard of the truth matters. So, recklessly disregarding the truth of his repeated claims that plaintiff was lying about being a lawyer and a former prosecutor. Bouzy responded that his earlier misrepresentations about Nate the lawyer were not, as some were suggesting, the result of mere negligence. Oh, good, we got there. Rather, Bouzy explained he had knowingly and willfully published, look, the language of defamation baked right into the suit. Knowing and willfully false. Reckless disregard for the truth. All of these are parts of the law of defamation. So that's why you are like, oh, I know these words. I know these words. Bouzy explained he had knowingly and willfully published these false statements to his 120,000 Twitter followers for tactical purposes. Or, this is a reply, or you are just unable to read between the lines. I was trying to shade him, but you just didn't read between the lines well enough. Or you are just unable to read between the lines, the tweet says. I already had the information. Just guard your ears real quick. I already had the information. The hardest part of a defamation against a public figure lawsuit is what? Proving malice. How do you prove malice? You have to show they knew. Why did that work in Depp v. Heard? Because a jury could reasonably surmise that in a relationship between the two people who knew what was happening in the relationship are in fact the two people. How do you prove that with others? It's real fucking hard. Unless they go onto Twitter and say the quiet part out loud. I already had the information. Now it's whether a court finds undermining someone's professional credentials to be defamatory in a defamation per se way, or whether it can be proven that that caused damages. But malice is normally the hardest part. I already had the information and was waiting for someone else to tweet it so I wouldn't be accused of doxing. Read the thread slowly. The condescension. The condescension. I want someone else to dox Nate the lawyer. If you know that he's a lawyer, the intent of this thread was someone else to dox Nate. That was the intent then. That's what this is saying to me. I already had the information and was waiting for someone else to tweet it. So I fished out there that he wasn't even a lawyer. So y'all would go find it and be like, oh, the thing is, he spells Brody differently in his government legal name than he does on the internet. So here's now his real name so we can dig into him. Delightful. That's delightful behavior. Yes, Minnie, the way I said delightful meant exactly the same thing. Who can reply? People Bouzy follows. Oh, the comments are turned off then. The panda said, already had the information, was waiting for someone else to tweet, is the biggest cop-out. Like, dude, just admit you didn't do proper research. Tons of creators use different names online. That's a thing that people do. It's not like he's hiding, which is what you're implying. Waiting for your followers to tweet the info so you wouldn't be blamed for doxing. How noble of you. The replies are funny. I didn't learn, I don't know Twitter well. I didn't know that you could hide replies on Twitter and that you could see them. But when you go to Bouzy's tweets, you can see all the hidden replies. It's very interesting to see how much he actively goes in and hides replies. I found it interesting. Finally realizing he had been caught publishing a string of false and defamatory claims, Bouzy conceded the falsity of his claims about plaintiff's background and credential. Bouzy wrapped these concessions, however, in a pathetic attempt to troll Nate the lawyer by accusing Nate of being a Twitter troll and a grifter. The later epithet that, meaning that Brody engages in grift or financial fraud. The legal definition of grift and the way that others use grift, I think, are two separate things, but we're going to just keep going on without making jokes about the grift. Christopher the Bouzy Bucks grift was hilarious. There were multiple streams of Bouzy Bucks. It was funny, but it's not an actual grift. It's sarcasm. Okay. He was a SUNY campus cop for 10 years, a career, and he was then admitted to their law school. You mean it's like Nate continued to seek education after working for 10 years to be in a position where he could seek that education? And he joined the DA's office in 2016, and 6 years later, he became a Twitter troll and YouTube grifter. Quite the resume. Wow. It's like, oh, these content creators. It's okay. Keep looking down at content creators. I'm pretty sure Mr. Beast makes like 5 or 6 million a month or some shit. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, Muffin. You can keep being jealous of the content creators. It's fine. Even Bouzy, however, must have realized that these claims, while false and defamatory, were relatively anticlimactic compared to his earlier narrative of Nate the lawyer being no lawyer at all, because that would be more staggering. Nate the lawyer, not a lawyer. Like, that's a much more staggering thing. But actually a lawyer. So, y'all that are taking blocked by Bouzy personally, don't take it personally. He's blocked everybody. I think the people who are taking it the hardest are the ones who aren't blocked yet, who are like, what have I done wrong with my life? I think that's the way that's going. All right. Bouzy, however, had another card up his sleeve. This gets into Bouzy attacking Nate over race. Y'all are like, what? Yep, that happened. That happened. Bouzy's weeks of attacking LawTube, and particularly, I think he went after Nate the longest and the most, had paid off well for the Bot Sentinel founder. His Twitter account and his audience for crowdfunding and self-promotion had grown by thousands over the same period. I'd have to go back and look, but okay. To keep the pot boiling on September 21st, Bouzy played the trump card of social media engagement, the race card. According to Bouzy, Nate the lawyer, an African American, was jealous of the success that he, Bouzy, had achieved, and his criticism of Bouzy and his business were motivated by nothing more than his desire to, quote, fit in with his Caucasian peers. Okay. Christopher Bouzy. I grew up with black men like Nate the lawyer. Men like Nate are not comfortable in their skin. Who are you to say who Nate is? So they go out of their way to prove that they are different or better. He's the type that would insult black women so he could fit in with his Caucasian peers. I know after his account was unlocked, he would continue attacking me because this was the most attention he had received in his entire life. He desperately wants to be relevant, and he will go out of his way to prove I am one of you by attacking someone who looks like him. What? Thank you all in the chat for not name calling. It's really hard when we see someone that we like being attacked like this. But this is just... This was not Bouzy's first time portraying himself as a martyr to the forces of racial prejudice to manipulate his social media audience. In May of 2019, Bouzy began a series of tweets published over the course of several weeks and revisited over the course of the coming years, ascribing his landlord's insistence that Bouzy pay rent as racial animus, or to racial animus. A representative collection of these dozens of tweets, including one suggestion, a comparison between his landlord's rent claims and a white slave master cruelly whipping his cringing black slave, is reproduced in Exhibit A, along with a copy of the final order dated August 20, 2021, ordering Bouzy to pay back rent to the landlord in the amount of $10,560.78 plus $94 in costs. Bouzy's claims of criminal conduct by Mr. Brody. On September 20, 2022, Bouzy announced to his 100,000 plus Twitter audience that he had found the magic bullet that would fell Nate the lawyer, a supposed admission by Nate the lawyer of morally reprehensible and felonious conduct, the planting of evidence on innocent criminal subjects, tweeting as shown below. Christopher Bouzy knew, I will say not new, because those that don't like Nate had clipped this down before, but okay. New unearthed video of former NYC cop and an assistant district attorney. So he said he was an assistant DA there. I mean, all right. Nate the lawyer admitting he planted evidence as a cop, but also knew when cops brought suspects in with bogus evidence when he was an ADA. Every arrest and prosecution should be reinvestigated. Wow. We're going to talk about this as we continue through this section in a minute. In a minute. We've got some conversations to be had. This was truly a stunning claim for Bouzy to unearth against Nate the lawyer, a former police officer and criminal prosecutor, an admission so damning that Bouzy would not be deterred by the fact that Mr. Brody had, in fact, never made it. If one false and defamatory tweet was, from Bouzy's point of view, good, very, very good, for the purpose of destroying his bête noire, really? We're pulling out all the stops in this one. Nate the lawyer, it stood to reason from his perspective that a series or thread of them would be even better. The shade. Thus, on that same date, Bouzy published just such a thread, taking on the attitude of what seemed to be, based on his claims of what the video said, the highest dudgeon and moral outrage shown to the right. Now we're just getting wild. Now we're just getting wild with the language. Bouzy's Twitter thread, every lawyer whose client was arrested by this criminal accusing someone of being a criminal falls into defamation per se. So when we get into the defamation claims, you can have multiple statements that you're claiming as defamatory. Some I think will be stronger than others. So saying that Nate's not a member of the bar, I think can absolutely go to Nate's career and what he does on YouTube and hurt him. But when you get to this person is committing crimes, you're getting into that defamation per se where you don't even have to prove damages. He clearly stated he planted evidence. Think about how many innocent people's lives were ruined because of this guy. Someone could be sitting in prison right now for something they didn't do, and he is on YouTube bragging about committing a felony. He's bragging about it like it was nothing. Disgusting. The way he brags about planting evidence on video is shocking. How many men and women are sitting in prison because of the bogus evidence, because of bogus evidence, because of Nate? He became an ADA in 2016, which wasn't long ago. His law license should be suspended. These are his words. Anyone that would plant evidence on a suspect or no other cops were planting evidence as an ADA shouldn't be allowed to practice law. Look, that part aside, because yes, no one should be planting evidence ever. That part aside, well, let's just finish. Let's just finish with this section and then go from there. Because I have thoughts. All right, we'll go to the cease and desist letter and then come back. For what he seemed to have intended at his coup de grace, Bouzy composed a tweet that featured not only a race tension angle, but also included a meme in which a white man is shown in a movie scene laughing with an African-American man, i.e. with an effigy of his internet rival, Nate the lawyer, over what readers were to understand were misdeeds they had visited on African-American suspects. Christopher Bouzy, imagine being a black man bragging and laughing about planting evidence on suspects. Quote, he became an ADA and reported bad cops. So what? How many lives were ruined when he planted evidence as a cop? He casually admitted to a felony on camera. It then said Bouzy was so pleased with what he evidently believed was a perfect social media massacre of Nate the lawyer that he paid no heed to comments from other users questioning his take of what Nate the lawyer was quote unquote admitting to in the video and suggesting that Bouzy's claims did not stand up to a complete and reasonable viewing as shown below. So these are Twitter accounts questioning it. So you went from he's not an attorney to he's a dirty cop who might have covered for his buddies. You should know that you have no credibility left in you. Credibility is everything on a defamation case. You should know. This is like watching a fighter keep swinging after he's been knocked out. Bouzy, you're the KO'd fighter. Go to your corner. Mr. Bouzy, can I ask why you did not show the longer version or at the start of the thread rather than at the end of the thread? Thanks, hun. I wish that had said thanks, Muffin. I suspect all the defendants and their attorneys would love to have a copy of this video for their appeal. Would there be a public record of this ADA's involvement in cases possibly less likely as a police officer? It would be kind to compile a defendant contact list. Those generally contacts aren't public. Expect would see the whole video and dismiss it as, I think that's a pig. It could be a horse. I don't know that emoji. Could be a cow. As comments questioning Bouzy's interpretation began to pile up in his replies, Bouzy slipped into bot sentinel mode, describing Twitter users who had the temerity to disagree with his takes as fake accounts. Maybe he thought they were fake because he blocked everybody else, just perhaps. While fake accounts try to spin Nathaniel's words, what tricks would a cop use on a suspect? What would a cop need tricks for a legitimate arrest? Quote, the trick is leading a suspect to believe you found evidence of a crime so they will admit it. You may not know this, but cops are legally allowed to lie to suspects during an investigation. That's true. Your bias is clouding your ability to objectively view the facts. The next day, September 21st, 2022, Bouzy continued down this path, reiterating his false and defamatory claim that Mr. Brody planted evidence on innocent suspects in the tweet shown below. Why is Nathaniel lying to his viewers? When I was in my 20s, I was building networks and servers for high schools and universities while he was planting evidence on innocent suspects. I could have worked anywhere, but I wanted to use my talents to help my community. We'll get to cops are allowed to lie. Cops are absolutely allowed to lie in the context of interrogation. So context is important on that, and we will talk about it. But in the context of interrogation, cops are allowed to be in an interrogation room and be like, you might as well tell us your version. because the person we arrested with you has already told us theirs. So you probably want to go ahead and give us your version of events. Even if the other person's never said anything, a ruse is allowed, which is why most lawyers say, get a lawyer. Say that you want a lawyer. You're allowed to have a lawyer. You're allowed to have a lawyer. You're allowed to have a lawyer. You're allowed to ask for your lawyer. Let's see. In the September 21, 2022 tweet, Bouzy once again had the opportunity to leverage the audience he attacked by falsely claiming that Nate the lawyer planted evidence on innocent suspects to promote his own exaggerated accomplishments as a City College computer technician at the same time. Bouzy could not resist this opportunity for self-promotion despite being aware by the virtue of previous posts about Nate's work history that even if his false and defamatory claims about Nate's conduct as a law enforcement officer had been true, they could not have occurred at the same time as Bouzy's supposedly pioneering work building networks at city colleges years earlier. So this gets into the cease and desist. What I will say is this entire thread, Nate addressed the video on his channel. He went through the longer clip. He talked about it. He talked about streaming. He talked about when you stream, the way that you say things doesn't always convey the meaning that you are behind, which I absolutely A, understand, and B, I don't always, the way I convey things in my brain and the way they come out of my mouth and the way they are received is not always the same. So people will receive the things you say, maybe not in the way you intended it to be said. I was on that stream with Nate. I think it's one of the first streams we did together. And we were talking about our work as district attorneys, talking about what it was like being a district attorney. Nate was talking about the fact that when he was a newer district attorney, he had the history of being a cop. So when cops tried to say, no, I did this, I did that, Nate could ask the deeper questions. Police reports are kind of a cursory overview. There are more questions to be asked. They don't get into every single specific detail. And so in the context of that conversation, I never once thought having that conversation with Nate that what he was saying is, oh, I was planning evidence. What I heard him saying is, and this is how it landed with me in that conversation, was I knew the questions to ask because when I saw things on the face of the report, I knew what to ask next because those are the way I wrote reports too. That's the way I did these things too. That's how you do this work. So Nate went on to say immediately after that, something like, I did have one really uncomfortable circumstance where I had to turn someone in because they were lying to me. And saying, I knew that versus younger DAs based on my work experience, as we were talking about the ins and outs of learning what it is to be a DA, learning how to work with law enforcement, learning how to ask more questions, learning how to read between the lines of a police report and saying, there's more information here that I need, because police reports are an overview. So that's how I took the conversation when I was having it. But again, Nate went on his stream and said, look, could I have said that in a better way? Yes. Always happens. It's always going to happen when streaming. Could you say things better? Yes. Could you give more context? Yes. But when you're having conversation after conversation after conversation for hours, not everything comes out exactly how you mean it. But in the context of the conversation, I was going, oh yeah, because I understood what he was saying was you go deeper than just the way that the report's written in the context of what our 2 or 3 hour stream that we had together, talking about kind of DA life. So it was interesting to me when that was brought up, and Nate addressed it really well, but it was just wild to be like, this clip of this 2 hour stream means this. That's not what he meant. So it's clear to me that that's not what he meant. I think, again, if this goes to a jury trial, you're going to have to look at that entire video and be like, could someone reasonably believe that's what he means? And he keeps going. Bouzy keeps going. Even when people in the comments say that's clearly not what's meant in context, he keeps going and going and going. And does. So, Whose channel was that stream on? It's on Nate's channel, and I think it's still up. But if you want to see the longer clip, Nate has a more recent video addressing it. Look at his explanation and look at the clip and see what you think. Emily, just wait till you see the things he's tweeted about Nate's eye after this was filed and add it to your rant. The fact that he's going after Nate's disability doesn't shock me anymore because he went after Nate's family circumstance. And I don't know. So going after somebody's disability after you've gone after somebody's race and family circumstance doesn't shock me. It's disappointing. So that's how I took that conversation in having that conversation with Nate. But as streamers, it's going to happen where we say things, and I find this more so when I am emotional, which is why I tend to cover cases that aren't emotional, that I don't always express myself well. But that also happens in conversation with my husband when I'm like, wait, that's not what I meant. I'm trying to say this and you're hearing this. Human communication is not always perfect and smooth. But taking it out of a 2-hour video, clipping it down and saying this means this to a Twitter audience, it's disingenuous. And in this case, I think it can be defamatory. So when attacking Nate, Christopher Bouzy has gone after his family and upbringing and struggles with addiction, not Nate's, his family's, which Nate has talked about. And it's for Nate to talk about. It's for Nate to talk about. Attacking someone because of their upbringing doesn't make any sense, especially when they talk about what they've overcome. It seems like that's something to maybe be celebrated and not used as a weapon against them. So he's attacked Nate's upbringing. He's attacked Nate's race. He's called Nate names and said he's trying to fit in with his white peers. And he's attacked his disability, and he's attacked his credibility, and he's called him a criminal. And he's accused him of planting evidence on people. Also calling him a criminal and a unethical cop. Again, being a university police officer. Okay, Bouzy. Let's keep going. Bouzy's claims of criminal conduct by Mr. Brody. We got to that. We went through all of that. Are we done? Can we move on? The cease and desist letter. See, what words were those? The cease and desist letter Bouzy blows up. That same day, Nate the lawyer, through counsel, transmitted a letter to Bouzy by email and FedEx demanding that he cease and desist from defaming Nate the lawyer, retract his false claims, and delete any defamatory tweets still online, a true copy of which is attached. I know that Nate went over it on his channel as well. The cease and desist demand also clearly advised Bouzy that Bouzy's false and defamatory characterization of Bouzy's supposed admissions of planting evidence were false and defamatory, stating as follows. You are advised that to the extent you understood Nate the lawyer to be admitting to the felonies of planting and falsifying evidence to be actual admissions of unlawful conduct by him, that understanding is manifestly incorrect. In fact, no civilian complaint or accusation was ever lodged against Nate the lawyer for any infraction, including mishandling evidence, in connection with any arrest in his 10-year law enforcement career, during which time he was also never written up, that is, given a department infraction for any misconduct whatsoever. Bouzy responded with a series of tweets, one of which consisted of direct and contemptuous responses to demands to the cease and desist demand, two of which are reproduced below. Okay. Let's make this easy for everyone. Ooh, there's the condescension again. Let's make this easy for everyone. I have received the demand letter. Good, you got it. Great. And on behalf of Balt Sentinel and myself, we will not comply. I mean, fair. I'm disinclined to acquiesce to your request, fair. So let's fast forward to you filing the lawsuit. The judge laughed you out of court, and me proving LawTube shouldn't be taken seriously. I mean, I don't. Please, internet, continue to underestimate me and others. It actually is the fuel that I'm familiar with from growing up. Like, those are the childhood wounds I am most deeply connected with, is being underestimated and told I couldn't do something. So can we please just keep that going? I could use the motivation. Thanks. Bypass the whole cease and desist process and just file the grift suit because we won't comply with whatever it is in the whatever is in the letter. Bot Sentinel will continue to track problematic Twitter accounts and publish reports. This isn't about Bot Sentinel, bro. It's about you. The cease and desist is about you, not your company. Your company is context, but the cease and desist is about you. So Nate went ahead and fast forwarded to the lawsuit. Okay. And we're reading it now. How meta. I love that you guys are like, weird flex, but okay, Muffin. Somebody said, oh wait, LawTube is a serious thing. I thought we just made poop in the bed jokes. I thought so too. I thought we talked about the law and had some fun.
It's the internet. It doesn't have to be serious. Serious lawyers don't consider themselves LawTube. They consider themselves Law Twitter, which is why everyone hates them.
Because they're boring. Also, you can't like hire LawTube, and LawTube to represent you. Members of LawTube, yes. Other members of LawTube, no. It's not a thing. It's a genre. Other Bouzy tweets made after he received the C&D made a point of repeating the false and defamatory claim that Nate, the lawyer, made a video admitting he falsified evidence as a cop, shown below. New, this is September 22nd. Former NYC cop and ADA, Nate, the lawyer, is threatening to sue Bot Sentinel and me. You, mostly you. Because we publish a video of him admitting he falsified evidence when he was a cop. He is now trying to raise $30,000. Here's the video again. Let me republish. Let me just republish what I said and was told was defamatory. Let me republish it again. I love Twitter's new mixed media feature. Here is Nate the lawyer laughing about planting evidence. Okay. I don't need to reiterate myself. Emily, you made your thoughts clear. You made them clear. You can just move on. You can move on. The ADHD urge to repeat myself again. No. Keep going. All right. Talking to myself out loud. I see those of you in the chat saying, today I published. Yep. Today I published. Today I republished. Another tweet by Bouzy broadly suggested, again falsely, that although the C&D demanded although the C&D advised Bouzy that no civilian complaint or accusation was ever lodged against Nate for misconduct during his career in law enforcement, Bouzy had information to the contrary as shown below. Oh dear. Y'all, he doubled down. Like down. Do it in your Elaine voice. Nate the lawyer's lawyer. No, that's not my Elaine voice. I don't know. My Elaine voice is broken. Now we've gotten to Valley Girl. I don't know what happened. We just got to Valley Girl.
Nate the lawyer's lawyer claims Nate had a spotless record when he was a campus police officer at SUNY. Spoiler alert.
There we go. I don't know why there's a calculator, but there's some link to something. What do you want to bet the link to something is to like a Reddit thread of somebody talking about the exact same video? Because that's a YouTube link. Anyway, other false and defamatory statements tweeted by Bouzy after he received the C&D include the following. Nate the lawyer, LawTube, and Caroline Orbueno, a social science researcher who claims Bot Sentinel used technology based on her work, interesting, started a coordinated smear campaign against Bot Sentinel in October 2014. Every time I see someone saying there's a coordinated smear campaign, I just wonder what they're up to. I've seen these accusations again and again in different cases. Like These are an orchestrated troll group. This isn't, it could be just people with the same opinion. Like, what are you talking about? An orchestrated smear campaign. Who's got time for this shit? But again, oftentimes, not often, sometimes when you protest too much, it just makes us wonder what you're up to. Professional liars like Nate the lawyer prey on people who lack critical thinking skills. Literally every lawyer that I follow on this platform wants their audience to have not just some critical thinking skills, but all the critical thinking skills. And then they get slammed for it because they're like, ask questions. And people are like, you can't question that. Yes, we can. Question it all. Question it all. Question it all. I should have worn my I have questions shirt today. I wore my I love cursey words shirt today. We need to unleash them a little bit more. All right. Nate the lawyer bragged to his YouTube viewers about illegally obtaining my social security number. Did he brag about illegally obtaining it, or did he say he had run like a background report through an investigator pre-lawsuit like you do in pre-litigation? Because in pre-litigation, you're going to run reports to determine if you're going to sue someone. Like there's like oppo research that you're going to do that's going to include some of that. You're going to run a whole bunch of reports, other judgments against them, liens, all kinds of stuff. If Rob is still in the chat, he can talk about it. But that's exactly what you would do at the beginning of a civil litigation, is run somebody. That's not illegal. Another series of new Bouzy tweets consisted of false claims or suggestions by Bouzy that Nate the lawyer was stealing or making personal use of donations collected for him for legal fees in this action by using illustrations of a black man pocketing a wad of cash. One describing donors as gullible suckers who donated to a, quote, legal fund set off by square quotes, and a third describing Mr. Brody as an opportunistic grifter or fraudster as shown below. We're going to need more popcorn. What does this say? Bot Sentinel put the bad things I said in a report, and I don't want them using my words against me. I want justice. What? None of these reports, by the way, none of these reports talked about Nate. Like, he went out, Nate talked about the reports, and then he went after Nate on Twitter, and then it all went way down the rabbit hole. I told you Nate the lawyer was an opportunistic grifter, and now he is making videos about Meghan Markle because his channel views have evaporated. I mean, that's opinion, I guess. Nate the lawyer didn't stop at only reinvigorating his YouTube channel. He also figured out he could convince a bunch of gullible suckers to donate to his legal fund by promising he could stop Bot Sentinel and me. Compare his Twitter profile back in May to now. So he's saying he gained Twitter followers through this? Okay. Okay. Another Bouzy tweet along these lines, dated October 6, 2022, stated that after raising money for legal fees to pursue this action, quote, all he has accomplished is to take money from people and make himself and his lawyer richer. After the foregoing statements published by Bouzy on Twitter, all the foregoing statements published by Bouzy on Twitter were and are false and defamatory, willfully intended to impugn Nate the lawyer's character, his legal and professional ethics, and his skills and competence as an attorney and legal commentator. The way people go after attorneys' licenses when they disagree with them is just so fucking weird and inappropriate and wild. It's just the attitude of, you said something I don't like and I want to end you off the internet, is bananas. And that this feels like an extension of that. You criticized what I said, so I'm going to try to end you. It's bananas to watch. And I know people have made bar complaints about other lawyers that have opinions on YouTube. It's like, we're going to the bar. This is unethical. Look at how long it took the state bar to do anything about Tom Girardi. The state bar doesn't care if the lawyer hurt somebody's feelings on Twitter. They just don't. That's not what they're going after. If you don't like something somebody said, either tell them you don't like what they said or don't engage with them at all. Or tell others, I don't want to engage with this person. I don't like what they said. Great, that's your opinion. You're allowed to not like people without trying to literally yeet their professional licenses. It's the way people went after BJ from That Surprise Witness. They went after her licensure and her job because they didn't like what she was saying on the internet. So what That Surprise Witness did, what BJ did was say, fine, I resign my license. Fuck it. I'm going to keep fighting this fight. I'm still an educated attorney. I'm just not going to have a license. There's nothing that you can take from me. So come on. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. What can you take from me? Nothing. Stop trying to attack my license. I don't need my license to do what I do. And she just mounted up. She's like, we fucking ride. You're not going to silence me by trying to hold something over my head. So onward. Man, people get so bent out of shape. First claim for relief. Defamation per quad. Plaintiff incorporates all the above shit. The statements were published by defendant concerning plaintiff. The false statements were published, communicated, and transmitted to third parties. Yup, Twitter. He made those false statements allegedly knowing that they were false or with a reckless disregard for the truth. There's the malice being alleged. Nate the lawyer has been, and if the harm done to him is not remedied, will continue to be damaged by the defendant's conduct, including by reason of harm to reputation, loss of income, and other harm. So that's the defamation, traditional defamation. Defamation per se. You don't have to prove damages. So same as above, but accusing someone of criminal conduct or other things, we talked a lot about defamation per se with regard to the Tasha K. Cardi B lawsuit. Third claim for relief, false light tort. So false light is a wing of defamation. Plaintiff Nate Brody incorporates the foregoing allegations to the extent any false statements published by defendant to the public are not literally false. They nevertheless place Brody in a false light. So this is almost akin to your defamation by implication. This was also brought up in the Cardi B Tasha K case. This false light. It's what I'm saying might not be defamatory, but I'm leaving an implication and placing you in a false light. I'm saying this means this when that's not true. The false claims by defendant identify Nate the lawyer specifically and clearly. They misrepresent Nate the lawyer's character. They misrepresent his legal ethics, credibility, and competence. The defendant made and published these false statements the false statements alleged above, knowing that they were false or with a reckless disregard for the truth, harm done being alleged. Intentional interference with prospective business advantage. This is a great cause of action, and I like it. I like seeing when the facts, of course, when the facts are there. This makes so much sense because you can show that people are doing this to hurt someone's business. It's not used enough in these types of suits, but we're seeing it used more and more. In most states, it is a good cause of action, especially if you have someone going after, specifically targeting and going after someone's income and their business contacts. Let's see. Bouzy made the false statements above as part of a campaign to cause third parties, specifically social media platforms, including but not limited to YouTube and Twitter, to limit or restrict or eliminate his access. If you try to get someone kicked off of Twitter, maybe not. But if you try to get someone kicked off of YouTube, particularly where they make their income, I think it is a strong argument to be made there. And Bouzy tweeted tweet after tweet after tweet after tweet about wanting LawTubers taken off of the YouTube platform and wanting people removed from the platform and going after the platform. The defendant made him published. Hey, Dr. B, I heard you. Where'd you go? Confused. Unless that wasn't Dr. B. And if that wasn't Dr. B, then somebody is pushing the curtains out of the way in my house. Okay, we're going to keep streaming and see what happens. Nate the lawyer has been, and if the harm done is not remedied, will continue to be damaged by the conduct. Prayer for relief. Stop it. Pay me. Compensatory damages, punitive damages, retract the statements. In a manner at least equal in reach to what he published, which is real hard to do. You can't put the shit back in the horse with this kind of stuff. Once it's said and out there, even if you retract it, it lives on Reddit threads and retweets. That's why you have to go after this with the compensatory and punitive damages. So Sandy asked, are you linking the court documents below? No, I'm not. And the reason I'm not is because Nate has linked them on his own locals account. And if you want to support him through this lawsuit and follow that, you can go to his locals, which I believe is natethelawyer.locals.com. And he has them there for free on his locals. You just have to sign up to follow his locals. So I rather have you go sign up and follow his stuff if you are so inclined. I don't know where he went, but the curtain got pushed open. Do I have an appointment that I'm late for? Is that why? Is somebody looking for me? Do I need to be somewhere? Hold on. Let me check my calendar because I live and die by my calendar. And if I don't look at it, no, I'm good. I'm good for a little while longer. All right. Busy. We're busy. Exhibit A. These are the landlord tweets attached in Exhibit A talking about the landlord. This is from April 30th, 2019. It's not smart to piss off someone with 30,000 plus followers and over a dozen media contacts. Is that threatening? Is that a threat? Like, I will ruin you because I have followers. Feels like it. Feels like it. So they go through all of this, apparently asking about a refund because we were scammed is somehow an attack or threat. My neighbors are adults and they consulted with their attorney before making their decision, but the landlord singled out the Black couple. She never asked whose idea it was to withhold rent. She just automatically assumed it was us because, of course, we are Black and angry. This is the tweet thread that was referenced earlier. Should I write a large thread documenting how our listing agent scammed us and how the landlord has behaved deplorably throughout the entire process? With 265 votes. Speaking of votes, I wonder how many votes we have in our poll. You guys have a minute. You guys have a minute to vote if you've been blocked or go look. Breezen said, my husband barely uses his Twitter and even he's blocked by Bouzy. Good Lord. Good Lord. All right. Let's see. Exhibit A, more tweets. So these all seem to be these 2019 tweets. This is the whole 2019 tweet thread. Let's see. Also, landlord-tenant issues happen. And if they do, the best person to contact is a, say it with me, chat, say it with me, lawyer. These are more 2019 tweets. More 2019 tweets, more 2019 tweets. These are tweets and tweets and tweets and tweets. I don't know how much it's going to help, but they said they were going to be attached in the appendix. So there they are. These are now into 2020 tweets. Let's see. You guys remember that MAGA landlord from over a year ago who scammed my family, took us to court, called the police on us the day after Liam came home from the hospital and tracked us down to our new house? Well, 2 days after Election Day, she filed a lawsuit in a new county. That's still going, I think. No, that's not right. That's not still going. Because the judgment was issued to the landlord for the 10,000 that we talked about earlier. So these are now 2020 into 2021 tweets about the landlord. Oh, and here is the judgment, apparently. So let's see. This is the judgment that was referenced earlier about the $10,000 plus to the landlord and the $94 in fees. And then this is more tweets attached to the exhibit from 2022 about Nate that were attached earlier. Nate the lawyer is trying to shame me because my family and I went through hell for months because of an unscrupulous landlord. You tried to shame Nate about his parents. Not that I'm saying either are right. I'm just saying. I have Twitter for local news, weather, and EDB. Thanks, Chrissy. And I'm blocked. Weather's one of my favorite things to follow on Twitter. Nashville severe weather. What? Great account. Here's the cease and desist. Nate the lawyer went over the cease and desist on his channel. This is the tweet of, I already had the information. Great. Twitter wasn't impressed with Nate's abuse and targeted harassment, so they locked his account for a while. His bot sentinel rating is definitely accurate. Whoopsie doodle. I don't remember why he got locked, but I imagine that Bouzy probably reported his account. Brian said, I followed Natalie Lawyer Chick and Bouzy blocked me. Didn't he go after Natalie and Bree? Both two Black female content creator attorneys. Both? I might be confusing it with another. So much happened during this period of time. I might be confusing that, but I thought there was also issues between him and Natalie and Bree, why? Right? Seriously, why? All right, that was the cease and desist, civil case information sheet. This is the filing information, and that is the end. We're going to get to questions 2 hours in. We're going to get to questions. Look, all of this is a mess, but Bouzy's not going to back down, and the things he said can cause damage. Nate's going to have to prove they cause damage. I think some of those tweets saying, hey, I knew this information and I was waiting for someone else to do it, isn't going to help the defense in this defamation suit. When it's answered, we will come back and cover it. I will probably make sure that Nate has covered it first on his channel, and then I will cover it after. Because again, supporting his channel as he's going through this is a way to support him as a content creator. As he's like, you know what? I'm going to mount up and ride. And there are other creators who have done this. Not a ton. Why? Because it's fucking expensive, hard, and exhausting. It's all of those things. I've covered the older Ethan Klein lawsuit where he went up on a fair use issue against another content creator. And that case has some great, I covered it on this channel. That case has some really clear and concise rulings that came out of it. I think it helped a lot of creators understand fair use better, but he did a GoFundMe for that. And so many people supported that GoFundMe. I know that we've seen Phil DeFranco talk about supporting that GoFundMe when Ethan was going through that lawsuit. When creators are going through this, it is hard. It's expensive, and not everyone wants to take it on. Nate was like, we ride. These games on Twitter can end someone's career. And that's the way that is. But I think the reason Bot Sentinel got brought into it is because they're showing how much knowledge Bouzy has of the game that he's playing. And that's a really interesting thing, that showing the knowledge is going to be really interesting in this case. And we'll see what happens. So let's see. I remember he tried Natalie and backed off real quick. Natalie's not going to suffer fuckery on Twitter at all. At all. She will clap the fuck back, as is her right. All right. Let me get to questions real quick, and then we will get out of here, and I will have to decide when we're going to stream appeal. I saw a question about what, let's see. A blue check mark with false accusations as a top search result. If you're trying to research your lawyer, imagine that could be a problem. Yeah, a huge problem. And it's not just that. It's because he's a lawyer and a content creator, it's brand deals. It's your placement on the platform. It's people coming for your placement on the platform. It's people mass flagging your channel. It's people mass flagging your Twitter and trying to literally take out that chain of income. Let's go ahead and get to questions. Let's go ahead and end the poll. I gave you guys a heads up. It's time to fact around and find out. And we had a ton of questions on Tuesday as well. I'm going to try to get to some of those. A lot of these mirror those questions. So for everyone whose questions I didn't get to on Tuesday, I am so sorry. So we are ending the poll here. There's also a poll up on the community tab if you want to go take a look at that about if you are blocked by Bouzy. And on the community tab poll, I remembered to put out a I don't tweet. I imagine that if you don't use Twitter, you just abstained from voting. You're like, I abstain. Yays, nays, abstentions. So with that, with over 7,000 votes, 47% of you have been blocked. That's wild. I think my block list on Twitter is like 15 people that have blocked me. It might be more than that, but my block list on Twitter is generally people who have blocked me. It's like, if you're going to block me, I'll just return the favor. It's fine. And most of that happened during Depp v. Heard, because there were Heard stands that went through kind of the group and just blocked everybody. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, if you want to block me, that's fine. I'll just go ahead and block you too. Whatever. I'm not too bothered by it. All right. Let me get to Q&A as I try to rearrange my screens so I can see them better. Because oh no, I don't abstain. I did my first Twitter block today and it was Bouzy. It's fair. Question, is damage to reputation enough to win? It can be. You have to prove it though. And Bouzy was on Twitter bragging about being the #1 search result when you search Nate's name, being like, this is the #1 search result. So a jury can find that that's damage. And with the alleging crimes and things, you get into defamation per se. And so even if a jury finds, oh, we think this might have been defamatory, but there's no damage, but on the defamation per se, you don't have to find damage, that yes, we think this is defamatory, but that we don't see the damage, they can find it that way. So there's multiple ways to attack this. And there's going to be litigation in this. I think he's pled a complaint that's going to survive to discovery. And that's really where you get the meat and potatoes of the thing, is in discovery. So we'll see what happens from here. All it takes is one false statement for defamation. All it takes is one to win. And we saw that with multiple statements being alleged in Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. I thought if anything would win in Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, if you go back to my earliest coverage of the case, I thought it would be the headline. I thought that that would be the one where you would probably have the strongest argument, and that the others could be opinion, could be vague enough that a jury wouldn't find them. But the one headline is kind of where I was going, okay, this might be it. And then they came back on all three. So you never know what a jury's going to do. Any updates on Utah cookies versus everyone? We're going to get back to the Utah cookie wars soon. It's just been busy with covering. I didn't plan well to cover Brooks, and then we all got invested. So then I started covering it, and that has pushed other things back. Can the fact that Bouzy is indiscriminately blocking Nate's LawTube's followers help Nate's case at all? I don't know. I mean, maybe for context, it just depends. Maybe for context, but it's interesting to watch how it unfolds. I think that Bot Sentinel allows you to go through block lists and block people, but it definitely creates an echo chamber. There's room to argue that he's created an echo chamber to like la when people are telling you no, that's not true, and he's like, fine, block everybody. That might go to willfulness, like he's willfully ignoring those that are saying, but that's not true. Do you think Boozy's defense will be, it will be interesting to see what he'll come up with. He'll probably say that it's true, that it's opinion, that it's not defamatory, that there's no damages, those sorts of things, I imagine, is where we will get to. YouTube has a new questions feature that we haven't gotten to play with while we're live yet. We did it in the premiere last week and we'll do it in the premiere next week again. It's been really fun. But I don't see it as an option on StreamYard yet. So when I'm streaming, I don't think we can do it. For all of you asking about a Britney update, that's my intention for next week. Because we've just, again, too many cases, not enough streaming. I really think that I need, there are weeks when I'm like, oh, we just need to stream every day. But after doing live trial coverage, it's hard to continue to stream every day because then I get behind on like all of the other work and emails I need to answer and stuff. So it's a balance. It's a balance. Patty said candy corn and pumpkin spice for Emily. Thank you. Candy corn for the win. I know I've put up polls on it. Very divisive. You can pull my peppermint mocha out of my cold dead hands. I mean, the jaded, it's fair. That's how I feel about my pumpkin spice cold brew, my pumpkin cream cold brew, which I'm going to probably have to go get one tomorrow as well. Emily, have you had a chance to check out the Technoblade YouTube tribute yet? It was lovely. I did. It made me cry. I thought YouTube did a really good job. YouTube as a company, Google as a company, has to figure out how and when to navigate things. Obviously, they're probably not going to acknowledge every creator who leaves the platform, but when you have such a large creator with such a large impact and just so much joy with creators who, not just creators who appreciated Technoblade, but also an audience that spanned, I mean, from like my kids to me, enjoyed watching Technoblade's content. So I thought it was great. I didn't expect the platform to do a tribute, and I was really touched that they did. It's just that acknowledgement of another creator was really nice to see, especially one that was gone too soon. And I think it brings awareness to sarcoma as well. So I saw it. It made me cry. Oh, it's going to make me cry talking about it. But it's one of those things when I'm looking at someone who's 23 years old that I hope that not just his fans love having that touch point of legacy, but again, when you say Technoblade never dies, that's one of those things that truly lives on in legacy. And what an amazing thing for like his parents, you know? So not just for his community and his fans, but for I always come from the perspective at this point as a parent, more, but what an incredible thing to see the platform that your kid loved creating content on. So, doing a tribute like that, I think it's really, really a wonderful thing. And I was really surprised that YouTube did it. And I was really impressed with the way YouTube did it. And YouTube takes a lot of shit. Any big platform is going to, but I thought it was great. And I was pleasantly surprised that they did it. Because YouTube has definitely fucked things up. Like YouTube Rewind has gotten hate. YouTube has not always executed things perfectly, and that's fine. But just what a great way to not just honor someone, but to leave legacy from not just the platform, but for their community. And I love the way that they tied in his catchphrases, because Technoblade never dies. And the platform proves that. So Karen said, the fans are perfect. Can we get back to the fans? Oh my God, please, please. Let's flip a fan. Emotions are hard. I did it the wrong way. Put the emotions back in my face, please. We're finishing a stream here. Put the emotions back away. God. I'm not as good at this as Peter Mon is, but I'm getting there. Oh, all right. I think the emotions are back in my face. I think so. Soom said, not blocked by him. I use different emails, names, and PFP for all social media, especially for this reason, when public figures want to be shady, and for privacy, of course. Privacy is always a good one. And it's interesting to see. I mean, it's why people, I didn't see Real Housewives of Salt Lake City last night, but there's much conversation about a Finsta. So I'm going to have to do it. Marie said cancer sucks. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And yes. So, sassy, awesome support from yes, the chat is good. And it's one of those things, it's hard to, it's just hard. Sassy footnote, you can go ahead and put it in and we'll star it and read that. So we'll start and read that. Bouzy did a poll asking if anyone had heard of Nate before he started talking about him. With everyone who has heard of him blocked, no one would have heard of Nate. Mistake if he's trying to prove Nate is not a public figure. It makes it easier to win defamation. I think what I sassy footnote, first of all, thank you for the super chat. Thank you. If you have an addendum, we will start it so I can get to it, because I know we have like over 13,000 people here. So I think the poll, and I saw the poll, a number of people sent it to me. I saw the poll. Thank you for sending it to me, because blocked. But I think with Nate saying, or with Bouzy saying, no one's ever heard of me, or have you heard of Nate the lawyer before I started talking about it? It shows how far the reach of the alleged defamatory comments went. And it's Bouzy showing my audience didn't know him. And I think it goes against him, making it easier for Nate to prove that the republication reached a new audience, that the republication caused damage to reputation, that the publication of the alleged defamatory statements caused issues. And so him blocking people who've heard of Nate and then saying none of y'all had ever heard of him, I think hurts him. And I don't think Nate's going to argue that he's not a public figure, because this is all concerning things Nate has said or done on YouTube. He has over 100,000 subscribers. I don't think they're going to even try to argue that Nate is not a public figure. And they kept that public figure language in there to prove malice. Maybe they will try to argue it, because argue everything. But I think it proves that these statements were reaching a new audience. Let's see. Bree said, yay, I have live emojis. So if you are on mobile, you might be able to see emoji. Let's see if I have them. If you are on mobile watching the video, not all mobile, I think, has it, but if you are on mobile watching, there should be emoji. Let me see if I can, where's my pop socket? Meh. Pop sockets. I can't say pop sockets, not like Hot Pockets. I just can't. Let's see if I have them. I don't see. Oh, I don't have them on this account. I wonder if I go in on my account if I'll have them. Wait, I don't want to hear me talking. Emily, stop. No, I don't have them on this account, because on my phone I'm signed into my QuickBits account. But I wonder if I switch QuickBits to the other one if I have them. Let's find out together, because we have a minute. All right, let's see. If I'm signed in on my account, I still don't see them. I don't see the little emojis on mine, but maybe y'all have them, because there's little heart emojis. Rob sent them to me from the last live stream. I don't see them on my accounts. So, but maybe y'all have them. And then as a creator, I don't know how I see them show up for me yet. I haven't figured that out. Just me said Christmas bah humbug, no decorations before 12/23. There's something kind of beautiful about that. I like putting up the trees. I like putting up our trees with lights around Thanksgiving, but that's good for me. I leave our Halloween decorations up longer, because we kind of transition from specifically Halloween to like fall pumpkin themed. Pumpkin spice season should last until at least US Thanksgiving. I agree with you, because you need to fuel Black Friday with pumpkin spice. Hallie said, I may go to prison for saying this, but I've never had a pumpkin spice latte. We're not going to, this is not a crime. I mean, it might be a crime against your taste buds, but not an actual crime. Okay, send me to prison. My new house is conveniently less than 4 miles from Folsom State Prison. No, no prison. I like the pumpkin cream cold brew better than the pumpkin spice latte. I just do. I find sometimes the pumpkin spice latte is too sweet. So that I find it to be too sweet sometimes. Let's see. So anyway, so thank you, Sassy Footnote. As I wrap that, I don't think it makes it easier to win defamation. I think it gives Nate room to argue that there's more damage to reputation. Bouzy bucks. I can't say it like Nate does. Nate goes like, Bouzy bucks. By the way, you forgot to include not on Twitter option again. I know. I didn't say it out loud. It's on the community tab. Question, when will we do a Britney Spears update? Soon. I know there's new minute orders soon. You know what? I will try to do, I'm looking for my pen. I will try to do a quick bit on it. I need to do a quick bit on Girardi too, but I will try to do some quick bits on it before I get to it next week. I'm going to try to update on quick bits. I do like the 1 minute YouTube shorts over on my quick bits channel. And let's see. And I do those. I also put those up on TikTok and Instagram. If you don't TikTok and Instagram, that's why I put up the quick bits channel so that we could put up some shorter content here that was just like, I just need literally the briefest of TLDRs on this. And let me see if we go to quick bits. Here's the quick bits channel. We'll just go to, oh, that's a lot of my face. That's a lot of my face. YouTube, can you please let us choose our thumbnails for shorts? Because the things that you pick are just like always my teeth. It's always just me like, ah, I hate it. Stop it. Let me pick. I can't. But this is the Quick Bits channel, Emily D. Baker Quick Bits. It's got all of my shorts. It's got a few shorter videos. You'll always see those with a thumbnail there. This one's 7 minutes, 15 minutes. 30 minutes isn't really a quick bit, but it's fine. So that's where those live. On shorts, you can just go to watch all the shorts. If you want to, they're up on the Quick Bits channel. So if you're not subscribed to Quick Bits, it's over there if you want to be subscribed to Quick Bits. Quick Bits. So I try to put them up weekly. Some weeks are better than others. Joellen said he didn't block me, had to take his Xanax. He still hasn't paid the landlord yet, even though the bot Sentinel is supposedly worth millions. K-Rab, I mean, it's a $10,000 judgment. It might be a matter of principle and not a matter of finances. I don't know. I really don't know why people choose to do or not do the things. Kyle said 35 years ago as a PI doing backgrounds, insurances, it was manual work. Now with the internet, it has to be easy. I might have to do it again. I mean, it's needed and it's something people run all the time. LJ Peach said they went to the bar after, I think that's to go after Nick Rekieta. They did. I think he got like 40 or 50 bar complaints in a very short period of time at the same time he was being flagged. People were like, it seemed from what I've seen him share that people were going after him on trying to get his YouTube channel taken down, which it got yeeted for a bit and then came back, and trying to go after the bar. And the bar was like, no. Brenda said they discontinued the almond croissant. What the hell, Starbucks? Oh, rude. Rude. Emily Quick Bits be looking like some elder tour. I think I'm here for it. I like it. Question, do you think people might be biased about the clip in favor of Nate where Nate was talking about the evidence with you because of his and your popularity? I don't know. I think people can take what they take away from it. I think I personally was in the conversation and that was my takeaway from the conversation. Nate's explained what he was trying to say on his channel. If people don't want to believe Nate's explanation, then they're not going to. But I think there's a lot to be said when, I mean, I've seen Nate be completely consistent. And when you also have someone that doesn't have a single complaint against them ever, it really goes to back up when Nate was saying that's not how that was meant. That's not what I said. And even if you're trying to take it that way, that's not what was intended. But that makes it hard if there's a question. But once Bouzy was alerted to all of those facts and kept going, I think it makes it a little easier for a jury. So I don't know how it lands with people. Some people might look at the clip and be like, "No, I'm out." Okay. Lisa said I saw I was blocked because I was following you and Rob, so I followed when I saw I was blocked, and I rarely use Twitter and no clue who Boozy was. I think truly I think he used his company's feature to just mass block people. And I think this is all speculation because I have not, well, one, I'm not giving his company my information by going in and playing around on his website much. I am not, I think there is a way to go through like if this, then that, and block people. So I think you can allow Bot Sentinel to mass block on your behalf. How about a bot operated by Needlehoff's cat? I think that would probably be rated a normal Twitter account on Bot Sentinel, probably. The no text notifications are killing me. I'm sorry. My texting company is killing me. So we're working on it, and I'm sorry. Cameron, this is wild to me. Boozy blocked my late spouse's memorial account. Weird. I do think it is I think it's being done by if this, then that. So that's why. I'm sorry that I can now not pronounce your name. I apologize. Amena? I hope you have become my favorite law tuber. Thank you. Question. Since I live and practice in Eastern EU, what do I do with all I've learned about US law? Become a liaison. Become a liaison between the two. Or help educate people in the difference when they're saying, oh, but how would this work here? You can be like, I have the differences for you. Our system is definitely different. It's definitely different. Kyle asked, is the planting evidence defamation per se? I think it would fall under defamation per se because it's accusing someone of a crime. So I think so. Let's see. Kimberly said, have you seen Gabby Petito's parents are suing the police that stopped the two, saying they could have prevented her death had they done their job correctly? This sounds like grasping at straws. I have not seen anything today while I've been streaming. I saw the chat saying that there was a press conference. I have not seen the press conference, but was it a month or two ago that they said they intended to do this and they filed notice that they were doing with this because this came up. This came up a few months ago, and the reason it came up, to the best of my memory without looking at this freshly today, is because when you sue government entities, you have to give them an opportunity in advance. So you have to send them the things before you can just go sue them in court. There is process that needs to happen when suing government entities before you can just go sue somebody. When you're just suing someone, like in this civil lawsuit, if Nate just wanted to say, I'm not sending a cease and desist, fuck this shit, I'm just suing Boozy, you can choose to do that. With government entities, you can't. There is process. So I think we learned about this in the media months ago when they started the process of going through what they needed to do procedurally to sue a government entity. And then the lawsuit is now being filed in court because that due process has been completed and now they can sue. But I have not seen it. I would like to read it and take a look at it. I can't imagine the pain that her family is going through. And I don't think these civil suits are going to bring them the closure. But I would imagine, if I am the parent, that trying to make change matters. Trying to prevent this from happening to anyone else matters. And if there are lapses in policies and procedures with that police department, suing them might help make change. And we've seen that in other cases where departments have been sued and they've settled and made policy changes, and that might help. So, and the lawsuit might bring awareness. So whether the lawsuit at the end of the day will go to a jury and work for them, that might not be the whole point. Part of the point might be to make change, to protect against this happening. And there's always this push-pull with law enforcement, especially when it comes to complex cases in, domestic violence and child abuse and other things. Training is always needed. More training is always needed. But when departments are short on funds and short on staff, just managing the violent crime that's happening contemporaneously, dealing with, shootings and stabbings and assaults and robberies, that tends to take priority. And then the trainings and the nuance for dealing with other things can get lost. So if that can start to make change and bring awareness, I think it's great. So, editor Danielle said, when Emily goes live, I get a Patreon notification, a YouTube notification, and a text notification, and a Facebook notification. It's great. You're welcome. I try to cover all the bases. I also put them on Twitter. I generally remind everyone on my Instagram stories. But I will say, if you want to, as we are dealing with text crew issues, and I am working on that because I like getting things via text. I wish YouTube would allow you to get notified via text versus via email. If you go over to Patreon at Law Nerds Unite and you go to the bottom of the page, you can just follow my Patreon without paying to join. So if you go to the bottom, you can follow it and you will get those notifications too. So, American Rose Designs said, this is funny. Bouzy's feed returns as normal, even though he posts a lot of hate. Yeah. Question, did you see that TMZ is reporting that Johnny Depp will be a featured guest in Rihanna's Fenty X fashion show? I didn't see that. Cheryl said, Emily, can you please read the Onion's brief to the U.S. Supreme Court in response to police arresting a man for parody? Yes, I can. It's up on the channel. I don't remember the name of the video, but we can put that in the link in the description in the channel. Yes, I did. I already covered it. And I loved it. We need some like food lawsuits. We need some sass. We need to talk more about copyright in the Supreme Court. There needs to be a balance between heavy and not as heavy. Bouzy was mad when Nate called out his evictions. Bouzy then got mad when they called out his bankruptcies and went after people for that too. Can we call it a predict? I don't know what that's relating to, but sure. About an hour ago, Nate tweeted that Bouzy is evading, cough, cough, dodging their process server. You got to serve somebody to get the clock started. But also, you can go to the court and ask for other ways to serve people. Am I wrong? Hasn't Bouzy shared that he's aware of the lawsuit? Nisa, I covered it well before Legal did. Just saying. Can I get a yay? My job just told me I'll be moving abroad for half a year. So excited. Yay. Hold on. Yay. November is the crossover where pumpkin spice and Christmas flavorings need to be a reasonable minds can differ thing. Lindsay, that's totally fair with me. Totally fair. Emily, have you had a moment to check out YouTube's tribute to Techno? They clipped your Technoblade Never Dies into it. They did. And I was stunned. I had no idea. But yes, I think we covered it. I had to reinstall Twitter. I'm blocked. Of course. Have they tried to prove she knew anything? With regard to Erica Girardi, I've seen it alleged. I have not seen it be proven. We talked about Girardi. The stream prep tab open equals endearing ADHD goals. I mean, that's my stream prep. I've got all my links generally. Cynthia, thoughts on the arrest made in the Delphi murders? I haven't even looked at it truly. And I tend to not closely follow a lot of true crime because of my past experience and because of how, like, when I'm covering as many cases as I'm covering, this is full time what I cover. And there is not much time for literally much else. I was helping my kid with homework last night. And I was like, oh, there's like life outside of trial coverage. We're gonna just do homework for a minute. Just got back from snorkeling and saw the Law Nerds live. Fantastic. I hope snorkeling was great. Hey from Aruba. Hey to Aruba. I bore people constantly with making comparisons. I mean, I do too. Okay, I'm watching this stream about 2 hours behind and I'm in tears with you screaming help with the internet giving out. Well, help me, help me.
Help me! Help! Help! The internet won't let me be great.
It just is streaming issues. I don't know what's going on with Bouzy. I don't know why. I don't know. All right. We talked about Gabby Petito. I'm behind, but the urge to always repeat yourself, an ADHD thing. That's what I've seen from my experience with myself and my ADHD friends. Like trying to make sure we're understood and the over explaining. I try to stop. I do try to stop myself with one. Can you please comment on the middle finger and comments during the Parkland case? Are such actions in law not considered unbecoming conduct? Thanks. Sorry, off topic, but want your legal opinion. I think I talked earlier about why I have not covered the Parkland case closely and that I have not been following it closely. So I don't have a thought yet. So I don't know. I have not covered it well enough to have a thought. There are rules of decorum in court. People say Mars is out, but it's retro. That's funny. Thank you. I feel so seen regarding candy corn and pumpkin spice. Dunkin's already brought out their Christmas menu too. Now you have to really search for the pumpkin stuff. I know. Devastation abounds. P.S. You make my workday. Thank you. The pumpkin scones are already completely gone from Starbucks. Law and Lumber said, I renew my friendship loyalty demand that the Emily D. Baker must be read in a Southern accent. Emily D. Baker. It's funny because I know exactly what that sounds like in my head because I have family that are from Virginia. And the Virginia accent is a different accent than like a Tennessee Southern accent. And it's kind of fun. I love the regional differences in the US. The regional differences in speech are so fun. They're just so fun. There's so much variety in speech. According to Nate's Twitter update, Bouzy is hiding from process server again. I guess we'll see. I deleted my Twitter last week, so I couldn't participate in the poll. That's okay. Deleting Twitter must have felt like a weight off one's shoulder. I'll bet Bouzy won't answer any discovery. It'll open him and his precious bot Sentinel to scrutiny. He blocked me for asking why he won't publish his research in a peer-reviewed journal. It's a fair question. So, let's see. Sarah said, regarding the Parkland case, is it inappropriate for the judge to hug the prosecution team after it ended? I need more context on that. Possibility to overturn. That I can answer. With the Parkland case, there's nothing to overturn. The case was pled, so the entire trial, if you will, was a sentencing phase, not a penalty phase. In the sentencing phase, there were only two options: life without parole or the death penalty. And the jury determined that it was going to be life without parole because they could not determine that it was going to be the death penalty. So with that, there's nothing to overturn. He pled guilty. He was going to get one of those two options. If he had gotten a sentence of death, then there could be things to appeal, but he didn't. So there's nothing to appeal in it because of the way that the jury came back, because essentially he won, which sounds weird, but in a sentencing context, he got the lesser of the two sentences. So there's nothing to appeal. Hopefully that makes sense, Sarah, but I don't know about the judge hugging the prosecution team. Have I ever hugged a judge after a trial? Have I ever seen the judge hugging anybody after a trial? I mean, the only judges I've hugged are people that were my friends before they became judges. I've had judges compliment my work, but most of that has happened in a context where they were talking to me and the defense attorney and said, thank you both for a respectful and expeditious trial. Thank you for your good work. I don't even recall a judge in any of my trials saying like, congratulations on your verdict, because they're not invested in that way in your verdict. But in the context of me trying a case in front of someone, I haven't had that experience, and I haven't looked. I will have to go look. The judge in the Brooks trial needs a hug. Yes. The judge in the Brooks trial absolutely deserves a hug, and probably goes home. And if she has kids, it seems that judge is married, but probably goes and hugs everybody. So Emily said, due to the massive loss of life, I think it was just that emotional. She hugged the families too. I can understand the judge hugging the families in a case like that. That I can absolutely see. So that I can absolutely see. I can absolutely see the judge hugging the families. Let's see. I'm going to get through. Oh, I've got a meeting in just a minute. So I've got to get through like 2 more. And then we've got to go. Let's see. Serena said, blocked by Bouzy, and I've never heard of him until Nate till the stream the other day, which is so wild. It's like, I don't know who any of these people are. Zeta shared, I am a Black woman adopted and raised by a white family, and Bouzy is so triggering to my bullying from school. Zeta, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that the bullying is just, it's unacceptable, and it's just so hateful. But yeah, the way Bouzy is trying to bully Nate, it's just, I know Nate doesn't need me to say it's disgusting. Nate knows it's disgusting, but it just makes me sad. Truly. So Parkland, the defense attorney gave the middle finger to the camera. I would need to look at more context. I would need to look at more context, because there's still the photo of Ben Chu sitting there like this during the trial. And people were like, is he giving Amber Heard the middle finger? And everybody was like, oh my God, I hope he is. So again, I would need to look at context, because in that case, Ben Chu's sitting in court like this, and then like this, and then like everybody was like, is Ben flipping people off? Go Ben Chu. So again, I would need to look. When is Amber Heard's deadline to file her brief? I thought it was yesterday, but it could be later. Let's see. Shelly, I reported the one I posted to Twitter because it mocked a disability. That's just too far, but they said it didn't violate policy. Why protect Bouzy? I don't know. I thought mocking disabilities was exactly beyond, but it also depends how it was said. Context does matter. So I would need to look at exactly what was said. I don't know. I thought mocking disabilities or going after somebody based on disability or identifiable group, I thought that was against terms of service, but I thought so. I'm proudly norm divergent. I mean, I think that's where I'm at too. Let's see. Nicholas said, have you ever called on an ad where the seller claims you have to pay without seeing the product? Because trust me, bro. That's Bot Sentinel. That's funny. Let's see. That we're going to have to wrap, sadly. Question, can you give your opinion on the IV Millard, the pretrial hearing? Is that the chess one? I have no idea. I will make a note to take a look, Sarah, but I don't know. It's not something that I'm covering right now. And with that, I have got to say goodbye. I appreciate all of you. I have got to bounce. Thank you. Long Crime has short videos showing the bird flipping and the hugs. I will go look, and then I will try to look for the larger context, because again, I will try to look for the larger context. With that, I appreciate all of you. I have got to hop off for a meeting. Thank you. Kaylin said, I just watched the Technoblade video and I'm crying and covered in mucus. I'm sorry. I did think I gave a really fair warning going into that, but it's just it's so touching. It's so touching. All right. With all of that, y'all, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being law nerds. I appreciate you. Do the YouTube things. I don't think I said that once this video, but whatevs, you know what to do. I mean, we're professionals here. Y'all know what to do. It's time. I'm going to say goodbye. All right. We're going to put the emotions back in my face, and I'll see you guys later. Bye. Connect with me everywhere. I'm at the Emily D. Baker. If you guys want to join the text, just text Emily.com. If you want to join the channel, lawnerdsunite.com. Happy to have you. Support what we do here. on the YouTube.